Welcome to World Class Bullshitters, where we analyze pop culture on a 6th grade reading level. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and with me are a couple of guys that would have been less effective than Porkins at the Battle of Yavin. My smuggler from another mother, Dion Green.
You're welcome, America. The man with the plan is back.
Dan Kane.
We are fucking serious.
Dr. Phil Seitz.
I'm a doctor, damn it, not a Sith Lord.
Dustin McNeese.
Alua Akbar.
Yes, Admiral Akbar. It's a trap.
Yep.
Brian Callahan.
Hola.
And our newest guest, Joel Jar Jar Hastings.
Why am I even here?
By the way, listeners, Nick died in a fire, but he'll be back next week.
I'm not the first to die.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Today.
So, last week we spent 3 hours discussing the inferior Star Wars trilogy. This week, let's talk about the good ones. But before we get to that, let's talk about what's going on in the world of pop culture. Gentlemen, do you have any news to share?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the day of repentance is back. Crystal Pepsi has made a return. Obviously, I wasn't that excited, but hearing that it was Crystal Pepsi, my fake enthusiasm is starting to come through, and it is back.
Who the fuck cares?
I care.
I don't.
You should, because it's America in a bottle, goddamn.
Let's give a shout out to the LA Beast though, because if it wasn't for him, this wouldn't have happened.
I just watched his unboxing where they dropped it off at his house, and I found myself actually happy to see that shit going down.
Have a good day.
Have a good
when
day.
do we get
I need to go to the
Blue
hospital. That was my follow-up is we need
Dan,
Pepsi Blue.
you know what? We're going to start a letter writing campaign this weekend. I will drunkenly type out a letter to Pepsi claiming that Pepsi Blue was one of the best moments of my childhood. I would drink it and watch The Rock on TV, and I need both of those things back. So hopefully Pepsi Blue or The Rock will come back. One of those two. We'll send him a copy. Is that all we have from you guys?
Well, let me think. They're rebooting
yes.
Mummy.
Really?
Yeah. The Mummy's going to be a female this time. And who here saw The Kingsman?
Everybody.
Everybody did.
All
Yeah,
right,
all
the
of us.
woman who played the girl with
Princess?
blaze on her feet is going to be the main villain, the Mummy.
Oh.
Nice.
I think her name's Sophie
Blade
Yep.
Sophie Blade
Who's
Legs.
playing Brandon Fraser's character?
Brendan Fraser.
No, Tom Selleck is up for it.
Really?
Wait,
Fuck
what?
Yeah.
off.
He's so old.
I know.
Look
How
at him.
is-
And he's not even half the actor of Brandon Fraser.
Dude, Tom Selleck was old when you were a kid, Joel.
Oh,
I think they sat at the Last Supper table together.
He's to the right.
Yeah,
And Joel was at the kiddie table.
I'm taking the silver coins, by the way.
Oh, that Judas. Well, I got two pieces of news.
I had one, but all right.
Go ahead, Brian. You go first.
So, did anybody else realize that Tater Salad himself threw in his contendership for President of the United States?
Ron White?
Yes.
You know,
As of today.
up until like 3 days ago, I hated him, and then I watched his stand-up on Netflix. He was fucking funny.
He's funny.
He was definitely the best part of that whole blue-collar comedy. He was by far the best one.
Yeah.
You don't like Larry the Cable Guy?
What,
Dude.
I mean...
Prilosec OTC?
That was good in that Medea movie.
Nothing's good in a Medea movie, Dustin.
Man.
Shut your mouth.
All I'm saying is,
Speaking of Medea, did anybody see the Turtles trailer?
He did.
Yes. That was shit.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up.
No
Is
one's going to
Medea
believe
in
that
it?
Tyler Perry is going to create Jack Shit.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's like, oh great, Tyler Perry's in it. We're gonna see an appearance. Get your damn shell asses back in the sewer.
Hey, Dustin, what'd you just say?
Oh, I just asked if Medea was in it or just Tyler Perry.
Just Tyler. I'm
Both.
not really a straight man, Perry.
It's
No,
Medea
Medea.
goes to the sewer.
They kicked her ass out of the house.
Medea helps raise turtles.
How you doing?
It does Splinter.
Ooh.
I'd buy that for $1 though.
Oh!
Medea
say-
is Shredder.
I will say this, though. Tyler Perry was in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, which was a great film, so he may not fuck it up too much.
And
Oh,
Gun-
he had like 5
Fantastic
lines.
Gun Girl.
That's why he was
Oh,
the
yeah,
lawyer,
he was the
wasn't
lawyer.
He was the
Fuck.
lawyer. Holy shit. Yeah.
I got that Blu-ray on my shelf. I still haven't opened it up. Well, now tomorrow there's a big trailer that's about to drop. I wanted to bring this piece of news to the table just for you, Joel. The X-Men Apocalypse trailer.
Boo.
Before everyone chimes in, which you already have, so fuck that segue. Joel, let's talk about the X-Men films for a quick second. You're
Okay.
the biggest X-Men fan on this panel. How do you feel about them?
Comics, but not. Well, okay, so shoot.
I want to know your opinion on X-Men films in general. Since 2000 to 2015, well, 13 for Days of Future Past.
Okay,
Have you been
one was
impressed?
decent, 2 was less than decent, 3 was complete garbage. Wolverine X-Men Origins can wipe my ass. It was so bad. The second
That means
Wolverine
it's
was
bad.
okay. The last X-Men movie actually was good because
Yep.
it erased 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And after seeing the guy who couldn't get a job on the Power Ranger movie get the lead role in the X-Men Apocalypse, I don't know if I want to see it now.
Oh, Ivanus, a.k.a. Apocalypse, or a Cock and Lips.
Apocalypse? That looks stupid as fuck.
Yeah, you done beat me to it.
Well, Brian, I mean, you're a
I'm
pretty
so-
big X-Men guy, right?
I do love me some X-Men comics. I
Yeah,
don't like
that's
any
what
of
I
the
mean.
movies.
Any of them?
Any of them?
No,
Any of them?
Any
none
of
of
them?
them.
Any of them?
Any of them?
I think the first one's good. The second one's the best one. in
Second
my
one is
opinion.
good. Second one. Is
I
good.
love, dude. My Blu-ray copy doesn't work, and I just can't pull the trigger on buying another copy.
I don't blame you, man. The second one is so good, and even though as much as I hate 3, First Class is the worst for me.
I think I'm with you.
I hate
I don't
First
really.
Class.
I don't think Jennifer Lawrence is that amazing, and she just is like there.
Well, not only
bland.
that, but they clearly say fuck you to all the things that they said in the first one, and it's like, and a lot of people who like First Class were just not sharp enough to be like, wait, didn't Xavier specifically say he met Eric Lensher when he was 17 years old? And they're fucking adults in First Class, and he's
Don't worry
has,
about continuity because Fox doesn't.
and it's,
Hold on.
and it's
How about the fact
said
that,
that-
on X-Men First Class you have Emma Frost, right?
yes.
Isn't she a kid in the
And
Wolverine
she's
movie?
And in the
Wolverine,
Wolverine
yeah.
movie, which is the
Thank
future, she's a kid whose
Thank you.
sister is Wolverine's girlfriend.
yes, thank you. That's the
Complete
part that
garbage.
pisses me off the most.
Hey, Dustin, did you say she's bland?
Who?
Jennifer Lawrence?
No, I was thinking she had some giant titties. But
Oh shit. Okay,
but-
fair enough.
No. I'll say she's bland.
I think she is too. She's just kind of there.
She's kind of pleasant to look at when she's made up, but that's it. She is not the first Mystique.
Yeah, Rebecca Romaine Stamos was really hot, and she was decent in the role.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They're not trying to turn it into a movie about Mystique because Rebecca Romaine Stamos wasn't that big a star. Jennifer Lawrence is the biggest star right now in these movies, and they're like, oh, we got to keep her around, so let's kiss her ass and placate to her ego.
And she
like
just
her.
got
She was
done
great.
finishing up the last of a very boring series of
Oh,
The Hunger Games. Yeah.
movies, I think.
Have you seen them all?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the new one?
Yeah.
God.
Oh my god.
What the fuck is wrong
And he
with you,
doesn't.
Joel?
Yeah, seriously, you don't even have a girlfriend to drag you to one.
No.
Hey Joel, can I tell you something?
What's
my
that?
bank account thanks you because every time I see a trailer for a movie that I think would interest you, I realize I won't go see it because you moved away.
No, we did not see a lot of bad movies. Most of the movies we saw, we both agreed we wanted to see.
I for the most part, there were some stinkers like Battleship and Killers, and
We saw Killers together?
yeah, you were like, let's go see Killers. It looks great. I'm like, no, and then I went anyway, and that's the biggest regret of my movie-going life.
Well, then that was hurtful.
Yeah, that and This Is 40.
Oh yeah. Oh. That was
Well,
a bad movie.
Well, clearly this is a light news week. I mean, we're talking about a trailer that hasn't dropped yet, a shitty Ninja Turtles trailer, which is a sequel to a movie that I think I'm the only one here that saw it.
I saw it.
Yes, I didn't
Oh, shit,
see
I
it.
guess I'm not.
I
Cartoons
was
are
like, I
cool.
am not giving that dude any of my fucking money to see that goddamn movie.
Well, Dion, my cousin called me, which a cousin that really I don't see except on Christmas. He's like, hey, let's go see Ninja Turtles. I thought, what the fuck? I'll go hang out with him.
Right.
And we both watched it and we thought it was all right. I didn't hate it. So,
I didn't pay to see it. Paul bought it and put it on Vudu. So.
Ah, okay. Have you heard from him lately?
Yeah, actually I have. He's
Ooh.
doing pretty good. He's lost like 70 pounds. So.
That's a new lap record. I didn't mean the weight loss. I just meant the actual hearing of him.
Oh, I haven't seen him physically.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's still going on like that.
Yep.
So yeah, Star Wars is out in a week. let's get to some debating. How's that sound?
Just do it to it.
Fantastic.
All right, guys, you have two options for tonight's debate. Something different or something more traditional. Now, Phil, before you speak up on the traditional, sometimes different is good. It's not always sushi and butt sex, but it could be fun. There's a caveat, though, and I won't tell you what the questions are until you've chosen, either traditional or different. So, I'm going to call you out in order that you appear on Skype, and you pick traditional or different. Dustin, you're first.
Different.
Different. Dion.
Give me traditional.
Traditional, okay. Phil.
Traditional.
Okay, I knew you were going to lean that way. Joel?
Extra crispy. Wait, that's not right.
Oh, it's either spicy or original.
Damn it,
Okay.
man! This is
I'm
Star
gonna
Wars,
go-
not KFC.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the different because I'm
Okay.
here.
Dan?
Man.
Different.
Oh, shit. This could be, this could tie it up, Brian.
Don't do it, Brian.
Say something, Brian.
Brian, that was your
I will
cue.
take different for 2000 for me.
Oh, shit, okay, fine. This is gonna be fun. Now, we don't get to
my
decide a
mic
winner.
working?
We're hearing you a little bit. Are you okay now?
Guess not.
Did he cut out?
Take the dick out of your mouth, Brian.
For the
Oh, shit.
BBs.
Yeah, he says mic's not working, so.
Yeah, I saw the message. We'll give him
Can you hear me now?
30... We hear you. You good?
Guess
Guess
not.
not. Shit!
Eventually, he'll be back.
In the future.
Well, type your response so we
Yeah.
can know your response
Yeah.
until you fix your mic.
We hear you. Do you hear us?
The question isn't do we hear you. The question is how long will we hear you.
I hear you. Guys.
Oh.
Fair enough. Okay, well,
I don't know.
Uh,
What I was going
Oh, go on.
to say, let's take different for 2000 for back.
all right, we got you.
Fuck your
Okay, so
select.
it's different. So this is gonna be interesting. It's really difficult for me. Basically, it's gonna be all of you versus me, and the listeners will get to decide the winner.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Are you ready?
What's happening?
Okay, so since you guys picked different, this argument is you all versus me. I want you to argue why Empire Strikes Back is better than Star Wars, and I'll argue why Star Wars is better than Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Okay.
So you lay on the points, and I'll try to bring them back, and we'll let the 38 listeners decide who gave the better argument.
All right. Mr. Hicks is feeling a
there-
little confident today. Let's do this.
There is no time limit, obviously.
I wonder if that faggot Menace Batman's going to be listening this week.
I hope he is, just so I can call him a bitch.
No, what I hope is that an elephant breaks into his house and throat fucks him, and right before his face leaves, he looks over and sees his great grandma finger banging herself to it.
Oh my god!
I'd watch that. I could beat it to that.
You know, we did watch that video, the guy that got fucked by a horse and died. So
Wait a minute. I thought that was Dan.
But the funniest part of that video is what's the guy's name? Madness Batman, whatever the fuck his douchebag name is.
Meet
Is
my
I
man,
just-
Batman V4.
I'm assuming that he was the dude in the background of that video going, "Ooh, you like that? Ooh, you like that? Ooh, you like that?"
I
That's
just
what that
remember
fucking
from
guy was.
the only thing I remember from that video is just like that. We were so drunk and
Oh,
watching those fucked up videos.
that was so. Oh god.
Did you know they made a documentary on that guy's life?
I thought that he didn't die. That was just an internet rumor that he was still alive.
No, I bought this book. It's called like Weird Things You Didn't Know About American Life or whatever, and I opened up to a random page and it told about that guy. So
How the
According
fuck
to
is
that
American Life?
it happened in America. Well, anyway,
For anything,
Brian,
Menace Batman, we saw your video with the horse, and I just gotta say, if you're dead, stay the fuck dead. If not, I hope you get fucked by another horse and you die.
Did you die? Yeah.
I just love how you got real close to the camera. You're like, hey.
And he got
Menace
mad that we weren't filming, so read my lips, you horse cock-juggling douchebag.
Oh my god.
Take it in the butt.
This is a world-class bullshitting right now. So, I don't have any prepared arguments or a statement. So, you guys, Dustin,
Yes.
tell me a reason why you think Empire is superior to A New Hope, and I will fight that, and then we'll just go, Dion, Phil, Joel, Dan, and Brian.
Sure, no hard feelings though, right? Because I know.
Oh no, this is for entertainment. You say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Sure. There's no Tatooine scene where
There's no what?
There's no Tatooine scene where two droids just wander through a bunch of sand.
That's fine, but I would rather have two droids wander through the sand to get to, the focal main character of the film than like, Luke kind of running around a jungle where you're like for an undisclosed amount of time, and I'm supposed to believe that that's actually Jedi training. I mean, in the realm of the film, he's there for like 3 days. This dude never gets Jedi training. It doesn't really.
Well, 3 days still feels like a lot less than having to sit through the desert scene in A New Hope.
I just don't. But personally, I just don't care about Yoda enough to take his wisdom. I don't think he's as strong a character as Obi-Wan.
No, full transparency. I only went that route because I know you fast forward through it when you watch.
I was gonna say though, I don't anymore. When I watch these films,
cheap shot because
Hey, you know what though? Everyone would say like, "Oh, you probably don't like Empire Strikes Back because Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite." It's the only Star Wars film where he's in the beginning. Every other Star Wars film he appears 45 minutes deep.
That's true.
That's what she said.
Ooh, well, that's the princess for you.
Get out.
No, I guess without going the cheap route, without going the whole desert thing, I know one of the points you're going to make is that Star Wars is the only standalone film in the saga where it doesn't need anything else to build on its mythos. But I like Empire. There's a lot of big revelations that happen, and it's generally. I know you guys kind of got on me for this last week, but it has a lot more mature tone to it. The other one's fun and lighthearted, straightforward, good versus evil. This one, it just feels like.
Is somebody dying there? What is that screaming?
That's Dan's heart.
It sounds like somebody's dying.
My mic's off, so it's not me.
It's a dog. It's a dog.
Okay.
Keep going.
I mean, yes, Dustin, that is a point.
Fucked everything up, so that's the end of my argument. Jeff,
I would argue that, but I think not even just a standalone film. Well, kind of jumping off that, Empire doesn't have like a good 3-act structure. It kind of just ends without an actual, like a good note to end on, and I think that's why back in 1980 it wasn't considered as great as the first Star Wars movie.
Well, here's the thing. The concept of a guaranteed sequel to be made was a new concept. They weren't, we're going to make more after this. They didn't know how to actually end with anticipation for the next movie. You're right. The ending was everybody hugging, watching the ship go off into Never Never Land.
Michael Jackson's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do you think Mark Hamill looks that way?
Ooh. Don't you ever talk about Mark Hamill, you son of a bitch. Don't you ever.
He'll come to your house and carve your face.
Okay.
Like a motorcycle.
But there are...
Fuck, that's cold.
Some of the reasons why I enjoy Empire more than I watch Star Wars, because let me just give you a little backdrop. The day I went to see this, the day it came out, I was in Shawnee State Park, not Pearl Harbor, Shawnee State Park, on the hood of my dad's car with my brother, and we were hunting copperhead snakes.
Wait, what?
You sound like a dumbass.
No. My brother would sell them. He had reptiles in the house, so he knew how to handle the reptiles. I was just pointing if I saw them. I was only 6. We were driving down this hill, and the car's brakes grabbed, throwing me off, knocking me out. And I got my arm all messed up. So I was taken to the hospital. Hold on, Dion, shove it up your ass. I
just love how Dion just smiles.
I'm waiting for this copperhead to go up your ass or something. I
don't
know
no copperhead.
Okay.
And that was just what we were doing. But no, my arm is all messed up. Went to the hospital. Had like rocks taken out of my arm. I love that you're enjoying my suffrage.
Really? Women's suffrage?
the right to vote.
Yeah. While I'm there, I'm screaming at the hospital. My dad tried to kill me. Now,
what?
Yeah, I was screaming
What is
that my
happening
dad
right
tried
now?
to kill me.
What does this have to do with Star Wars?
Everything.
This is a good argument.
I was drugged up. And still
Are you drugged right now, Joel?
see this movie. So I was totally drugged up, went to see this
And you
movie,
still
and I
going.
fell asleep during the first time I ever saw this movie. Even though I went to see it afterwards, and I can still watch it now, I get tired watching because it's so drawn out and so slow paced.
You could have just started with that.
Seriously?
He was making. Hold on. He was making a point.
I was making.
Well, Joel, the first Star Wars
movies he's saying is boring.
A New Hope.
Jesus, like 3 hours ago, I knew he was talking about that. But
I feel like this is that part in True Grit, and like this is what happens when like if the snake started talking to the little girl after biting her, and she's just like, just fucking kill me already.
Instead of losing her arm, she just lost her consciousness.
He's just like, I remember when I was a little snake, and I was sliding with my other snake, and I got my shit stepped on. I said, that was great, Joel.
Well, Joel, I don't think A New Hope's boring and drawn out at all. It starts out with a big action scene.
It got better after the re-editing and digital.
We'll talk about special edition changes. Don't worry, but that doesn't really change too much of the pacing. But I mean, it starts out with a big. It starts out with a big opening. Then it has to move to a certain point in the story. You can't just like appear. True. And then once you get to the cantina and meet Han Solo, that movie's nonstop action because it's boom spaceship, boom Death Star, boom giant space battle, and it's just a huge big payoff, and it's just nice and grand. I don't know. There's nothing small, boring, and drawn out about that movie at all.
It's just I just feel like when I'm watching it, and I'm thinking maybe it's psychological from when I first saw it, but it does feel slow.
I'm sure it isn't.
And I do fall asleep unless someone's there to wake me up when I'm watching that movie.
Well, when I come to visit you, we'll watch it, and I'll stab you in the neck every time.
That's not going to help me stay awake. It's going to kill me from loss of blood.
I didn't say I was going to cut skin.
You said stab. You can poke.
I'm about to stab you with a potato peeler if you don't.
I like to see how
Dion, give me some points.
Listen, okay. Besides random cutoffs and long stories about my dad stabbing me with random objects, for me, I love A New Hope. You know this. A New Hope is. And I hate getting caught up calling A New Hope, but Star Wars is not boring. That movie, I forget how long it is. But the reason why I love Empire more is because it literally is a one-up on everything. I mean, obviously, everything from the way it was shot. And as much as I love Star Wars, the lightsaber battle, I mean, it damn near, without nostalgia, takes you out of it. And that's what's so weird about that movie is that everything is so action-packed, and you're seeing all these characters, and then there's a lightsaber battle where it's just two dudes kind of just swiping at one another, and it's like what he's a powerful Jedi. He looks like my granddad right before he got hit by a bus.
I think you've oversimplified it, but I want to agree with you on a certain point. You said Empire is shot better. I agree that Empire has a broader scope cinematically, but I don't think it one-ups everything.
Yeah, the only thing that Star Wars has better is a space battle. Other than that, and even then, going through asteroids, arguably for me, I mean, obviously the iconicness of going against the Death Star is very big. But for me, as far as the space action compared to the next space action, like you said last week, that view of the Millennium Falcon is fucking amazing, and the fact that it's literally, a dude, his buddy, a chick, and a droid in a ship for however long they were there, running from the fucking Empire. I mean, and it's Han Solo was great in the first one, a great introduction. But Empire is literally, for me, as much as I love Yoda and the training and all that, it's his movie. It's fucking about Han Solo. Han Solo's not there. Leia's Chewie's dead. Leia's captured, and Cloud City gets fucking destroyed. Han Solo is the fucking man in that movie.
Now, Dion, Han Solo's my favorite character. I'm dreading this new movie because he'll die. But I'll say the main character of Empire is Darth Vader. It's his movie. Because if we look back on A New Hope, Darth Vader isn't necessarily... The thing is, you got to understand when you look at Star Wars as opposed to looking at Empire and Jedi, and I think this is in its favor, you don't have to look on the first film and go, well, Jedi aren't doing this. It's the first time that Jedi existed. That's what they did then. Like on the lightsaber duel, you're like, oh, it looks like my grandpa. Well, that lightsaber duel... not the best in any film, but it actually serves the story.
Right.
And it's not like a big, grand, epic fight to the death. It's just kind of a nice little, cherry on top of the escape from the Death Star.
That is one entire cherry.
In reality, though, it's just to keep Darth Vader busy.
Right.
That's all it is. It's not like Luke's fighting to defeat Darth Vader when he's unprepared. It's kind of like, oh, we just got to keep I got to keep Darth Vader here so the rest could escape. So it's kind of like the end of Halo Reach. It's not the end of that game is not amazing. It's kind of a downer, but it serves a purpose to build up to the next part.
And that's why, and everything you just said is true, but that's why Empire's better. It is one-upping that, because again...
Just on the lightsaber duel?
Yeah.
Or are we talking every aspect? Because when you brought up the...
I'm just going off when you're saying it's for the story, and the significance in the film, the same thing is with Luke facing Vader. Obviously, the filming of it is a lot better, the mood of it is a lot better, but even so, it has the same significance to the story. That's what leads up to the great reveal. It's about Luke unpreparingly trying to be like Obi-Wan and fucking failing miserably. I mean, it has that same significance, and then it goes to the next level where it's like, oh, and by the way, I'm your fucking dad. Its significance is equally as iconic as far as the pop culture that it has, but it's huge. It goes that extra step with that huge reveal where you're like, holy shit.
Well, Dion, I think Empire Strikes Back lives and dies by the huge reveal. If you go up to some random person on the street and bring up Star Wars and you bring up Empire Strikes Back, even if they know the difference in the original 3 films, they may say, Luke, I am your father, which is a misquote anyway, but they'll know that part. I don't think the average person's going to go. I don't think the average person's going to go, oh yeah, do you remember that sweet scene where he fucking choked out Captain
So
Nina?
No one's going to remember the Battle of Hoth? Is that what you're saying?
They're going to say there's going to be a snow battle, but the snow battle, we got to compare the snow battle to the Death Star battle. The Death Star battle's night and day better than the snow battle on Hoth.
But if you're saying that Empire's only living and dying by the reveal,
it is living and dying by the reveal.
It's a huge part of it. But even if they left it that Obi-Wan killed your dad,
I thought that would have been a better twist too.
Well, no.
Because then Luke would have. I think it would have, because then Luke would have been like, "Oh my God, the guy that I've been, calling through the Force to is the guy that fucked over my dad." Oh my God.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that him saying, search your feelings. If he had just said, "Oh well, Obi-Wan killed your dad," Luke could just say, "Oh well, he's lying." Him saying, "Oh well, you're my son," and then he says, "Search your feelings," he's implying that you looked in the Force, you felt this. It's alluding to that vision that he had.
I would have just been my response would have been, I don't really know you. We've never interacted.
Yeah, but
you're not my dad.
Well, yeah, of course you would. Well, you wouldn't have been dumb enough to be like, I don't feel like getting my fucking hand cut off. I'm gonna, obviously I would handle it differently.
I would have. You know what I would have done? I would have fucking, in that scene, if I was Luke, I would have chased after the stormtroopers that were taking Han Solo and Carbonite away, and I would have helped them get the upper hand, and I would have just fucking skedaddled with the rest of them. I wouldn't even have fucked with Darth Vader.
Well, that's
because he was waiting in that fucking freezing chamber, biding his time. But I mean, back to our debate. I think the first Star Wars has the most iconic scenes. I mean, you have the space battle, you have the fucking chasm swing. If you ever look at a Star Wars retrospective, though it may be a small scene, that fucking chasm swing where Luke and Leia, she kisses him for luck, that's a big deal. The fucking whatchamacallit, the TIE Fighter battle when they just escaped the Death Star. That movie, it doesn't it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark in many ways, where you reach a certain point in the story, everything's set up, and then it's boom, 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 hit, hit, hit. But it already had built to this point, so it wasn't like out of nowhere like in the new movies where it's like big action, nothing, there's no build up. You go from the Death Star, you go from the fucking space battle with the Millennium Falcon, then to the big battle at the end. Empire's and it's more focused too at the end. With Empire, it's trying to tell many different things. Like I said last week on the Phantom Menace, I was so invested in the lightsaber duel, but then I got to fucking go to that palace.
Right.
It's like, I don't really care about the palace. Now I care about the princess and Lando and all that shit, but I'm much more interested in the lightsaber duel, and it takes so long just to focus solely on that scene that I'm like, oh, come on, go back to the other scene. I was really into that.
Right, and again, all that's true, but again, you ask anyone that hasn't seen Star Wars, the thing that they're going to bring up is Luke, I am your father. Hands down, that's the scene that people who don't, people who are on the opposite spectrum of us, who have never seen Star Wars, what do you know about Star Wars? They're going to say, Luke, I am your father. And, and obviously, people who are a little bit more familiar, you'll go into the TIE battle and and the first lightsaber battle and all that.
Say that you said it, you misquoted it. But...
Well, I'm saying in terms of what people.
Dion's quoting me, misquoting.
I know.
So Dion knows.
And that's what be my first thing. As soon as they, it's this. No, it's not that. Go the fuck away. You're not. If you're not after all this time interested, don't join the bandwagon.
Thank you. That's how I feel.
Well, yeah, that's how I feel about that too. But that's what they're going to say. They're all going to say first, Luke, I am your father, and that's why. That's what makes that not what makes it better, but that's the point to me that that of course Empire's a bigger movie. That's the one that's the most iconic, movie as far as pop culture for Star Wars, hands down.
I just think it's really that scene. Like when if you were to say to a Star Wars fan, like think of Luke Skywalker, I bet maybe 50% or more would think of Luke. Okay, perfect scene. The fucking twin suns on Tatooine. And Luke looks out longingly into the sunset. Visually, I mean, I said cinematography-wise, Empire beats it because it's it's newer. There were different things. There were more people brought on. You got to understand, when Star Wars was made, it wasn't like this great thing that everyone wanted to glom onto because it was the biggest thing ever. It was like, we're gonna can this film. The trailer's a fucking joke too, but the first one had so many great visuals like up on the screen that Empire doesn't match. I mean, the Hoth battle is cool, but it's not, like I said, as visually appealing, and it doesn't suck me in like the fucking Battle of Yavin. Like, the music's perfect, the fucking action's perfect, there's tension. I mean, it gets you drawn into the scene. The space battles in general in Empire, like, oh, it's just from point A to point B. It's not like, holy shit, there's
not holy shit, we're now stuck in an asteroid field.
Yeah,
I mean, they were in asteroids in A New Hope.
Than anything. I mean, especially with, and again, everything you're saying is true. But as far as, oh well, it doesn't suck you in. Of course, fucking that scene where the fucking Millennium Falcon is flying away from a Death Star and they're shooting. I mean, that's a great scene. And then of course, nothing. And again, I think obviously a lot of things speak to how the characters are going to act in the future in Star Wars. But in Empire, it's that was the teaser. That's the appetizer. And Empire is the main course. I mean, you see Han Solo.
Is it really the main course?
Yeah,
though?
Han Solo's not,
because I think Empire Strikes Back is more like, let's say Star Wars: A New Hope is breakfast, and you had like a big breakfast, and you had everything you could have eaten this one meal and been done the whole day. But then Empire is an equally delicious meal, but it's not. It doesn't. The first meal of breakfast wasn't building up to lunch. They're just two separate meals.
If I had Star Wars for breakfast, and the bacon's delicious, but it's the type of bacon where it's like, oh well, you're about to become a Jedi. I want the rest of that bacon. I don't want just that one piece. That one piece of bacon is Luke Skywalker. He takes the lightsaber and he's like, oh, I'm gonna start being a Jedi, and he saves the day, and you're like, oh, well, what's next? Is he gonna go and be this Jedi thing? And then that's what Empire is. It immediately answers it. Luke gets out of some trouble, and then right away Obi-Wan's like, hey, remember that thing that we talked about in the last movie? Well, you're gonna keep going with that, son, and become a Jedi. And everyone's like, oh fuck yeah, he's gonna become a goddamn Jedi. And that what leads credence to this whole Jedi thing. You had a little taste of it in New Hope, and they actually point you in the direction in Empire. And they give you that bacon, man.
When I watch A New Hope, I don't sit and go, oh man, the Jedi. I'm just like, I want to see the Empire get defeated.
Of course you did, man. May the Force be. I mean, that's what and again that came out of Star Wars, but the Empire.
Yes.
Empire alluded to that. I mean, you see, like what can these Jedi do? What are their powers besides guessing what a person
I don't think we really had a lot of super Jedi powers. We saw in A New Hope, we saw Force choke, and we saw the Jedi mind trick. Okay.
Darth Vader
those were
a whole room of items floating around the room.
Well, no. I wasn't getting ready to shit on Empire.
No,
I was trying to say.
I know you're not.
All I was trying to say is, in Empire, you see levitation, and that's really about it. That's what's built on. It's not until Return of the Jedi do you really see Jedi powers in action.
You see Han blast at Vader, and Vader stops it with his hand.
Yeah, he stops gunshots.
That's cool, but I mean, I would rather watch the cantina scene than, I don't know, some of the boring bridge shots in Empire Strikes Back.
I wouldn't call the bridge shots boring on that. Are you talking about in the Star Destroyers?
I mean, some of it's like, oh, we're going back to the Star Destroyer. We're going back to Star Destroyer.
Yeah, but we had to jump each time we went back to the Star Destroyer. Oh, that guy fucked up. He did.
Admiral Ozzel and what's his name?
Yeah,
General Vizier or something like that.
Captain Nita is who he also.
It was Captain Nita and
yeah.
Admiral Ozzel.
Yeah. Well, Admiral.
I watched it yesterday. Sorry.
Now,
I was so excited for this.
To give you, Jeff, some backing. I shouldn't, but I am. The fighting that Dion brings up that's kind of boring in the first one because they're so skilled. They're spending most of that time trying to find an opening with each other. They don't do the flipping because that's flash and no substance. Their fight was substance because they're that damn good that they're trying to poke each other for an opening to actually try to get the advantage, but they weren't going to get.
And like we argued last week, those old lightsaber duels weren't about the actual fight. It was about the emotion behind the fight, you know.
Or lack therefore of.
Well, yeah, in the prequels there was a lot of lack just for the fighting, but like in Return of the Jedi, the emotion between Luke and Vader,
right,
in the fucking throne room in front of the Emperor, that it's not really about green and red lightsabers clashing. It's really about father and son, good and evil, trying to, you know, the son's trying to pick out the good in the son. Or the son's trying to pick out the good in the father, even though he's evil and all that shit. I mean, there's a lot more. I think the lightsaber duel in the first one is just, it's fine. It's not the best one, I don't think it hurts the film.
I give one prediction with these new movies, that the fight scenes are going to be closer to Return of the Jedi and Empire than the prequel crap. The flipping around, jumping around, looking like retards on Red Bulls.
Well, yeah, because they're not fucking Jedis.
Well, no, if Luke's in it, he's not going to be flipping around. It's because
Luke wasn't trained like they were. He didn't go to a Jedi Academy. He trained with Yoda in the fucking swamp.
In a jungle with rocks and shit.
Exactly. He wasn't, trained like the other Jedis were in the prequels.
Yeah, I mean, that's another problem with Empire. Like I mentioned it with the other Star Wars movies. The floating time, like, how long has this movie taken? Like, what's the time span of this movie? It almost hurts it, because if it's a lot longer, it makes sense. But
I think it is a lot longer, because if you think
it's way long. It's definitely longer, because you're not going to travel from what system are they in, and then he doesn't have light speed.
The Noyad system.
Yeah, and he goes all the way to Bespin. That's not going to take 3 days.
But we don't know where. Like, remember, they're just kind of looking at a screen, and we just see a blue hue on their face. We don't know. Like, I could say driving to you is a long trip compared to driving to Hill's house.
But also, I think I can't remember what you said last time we spoke about, when they want us to assume things. But, obviously, I think when they're filming it, they're hoping that people assume, well, he's on Dagobah for a few months because, the ship's fucking in the swamp and his clothes are all fucking dirty and all this shit. You naturally are going to assume that it's been a very long time. I mean, because, it takes forever to learn how to play fucking basketball, let alone become a Jedi. You're not going to learn that in 3 days. Not to mention, I think that's why he said, that's why that when they're in the Millennium Falcon sitting in the trash is, oh, well, it's going to take a while, blah, 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 blah. That's
now, Dion,
they don't do a very good job about that, but that's why they.
I agree with your point about
time.
I agree with your point about the Luke part. That would make sense if it was months or weeks or whatever. But with the Han and Leia part, it's like, oh, it took us 2 days to get here. Like, there's no visible change. There's no nothing. It's like, oh, we look
not
exactly the same.
The time differential.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we just showed up. Like, we drove through the night to get here by morning or something. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of. It doesn't line up. And when I watch it, I go, whatever.
They're hoping that you're so taken by the characters that you just let it slide.
I think Princess Leia was much more. I think most of the characters are a little more interesting in the first film. Darth Vader's more interesting in the second one.
Well, that's
they're
because
all way more interesting in the second one.
I wouldn't say so. I'd say Han Solo is the most.
The only person who's not more interesting is Obi-Wan is because he's dead. Everyone.
Dude, Han Solo is more interesting in the first film.
I was going to say Chewbacca because what you get is, and that's it.
Even
Dion, in the first film, Han Solo is a criminal, a pirate, the guy they'll just hire to get the ship. Through the course of the film, he becomes a Rebel Alliance supporter and helps them win the day. In this movie, he's just in Empire. He's just there, and he just goes off with them, and he kind of does whatever.
No,
he doesn't really throw over.
He walks in on Vader in the dining hall. The first thing he does is immediately draws a Western shoot at the fucking baddest man in the galaxy. You're saying
that he doesn't even know.
Exactly.
But the thing is, he does that in the first movie. He's in danger. I'm just going to shoot this guy.
But he knows enough about Vader that, hey, this dude is...
Does he? Because we're never told.
Right.
On screen, this is the first time they ever met.
We're never told that he knows Greedo.
Because the books...
Yes, we are. He told he knows Greedo. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Oh, they're both Jabba the Hutt bounty hunter.
I bet his girlfriend, Princess Leia, would mention this giant guy in a black suit that came onto her ship, and...
I don't think that's his girlfriend.
You don't think that fucking...
I think they banged. I think they fucked on the Millennium Falcon, and that's kind of about it.
Do you, not realize what's happening in, the whole Hoth base thing?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I do, but you don't understand that they're kind of at odds on Hoth. It's kind of like, oh, you know,
They
blah, 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 goodbye kiss. They don't do shit until they're on the Falcon. That kiss is their first interaction. Like, their first intimate interaction. It's not like, oh, they've been fucking around for months on end behind Luke's back or whatever. That scene on the Falcon when she's like, my hands are dirty.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
even
but
so,
That's the
I
first time. And so at the same time, since they're on the Falcon for like an undisclosed amount of time, they could have like fucked one time and been together for 3 days.
Regardless,
so I don't think
when they're at Hoth and Han being promoted to the position he was in, I have to imagine someone informed him that there's this guy named Darth Vader.
They're in a war.
Probably leading all these troops in here to fucking kill us.
Yes.
I don't think so, because he's more concerned with Jabba the Hutt coming to kill him. He even talks about they were on Ord Mantell or whatever, and there's a bounty hunter after him.
But
I mean, that's what he's concerned with. He's not really in there for the rebellion in that movie to like, oh, I'm gonna help you fight this war. It's like I'm hiding out with you guys.
So they just
'cause
gave
I'm
him
a
a
fucking
rank?
wanted man.
You're saying that they just gave him a rank in a war?
A captain? Yeah, because Luke Skywalker got a rank for blowing the Death Star. Han
But
Solo's just as
it's been like a year and a half since the Battle of Endor or of Yavin. So you can't tell me that it's been a year and a half and Han Solo's more preoccupied. And again, obviously he is. They mention it, but the way he says, "Oh, the guy that we ran into changed my mind." So that alone is saying that, okay, I was focused on this thing I'm doing with you guys, fighting a fucking war. And, obviously they're going to brief him at whatever missions they have. They're going to say, okay, this is our goal. We're in this war. Here's the dude that's leading this fascist army, and his name is Darth Vader, and he has these powers that we don't fucking understand.
No, they do not know he has these powers, because the Jedi had been extinct, and he was the last one, and the people that interact with him from the Rebel Alliance fucking died. It's not like Darth Vader's really known throughout the galaxy.
Okay,
no.
Han's closest non-Wookiee friend, Luke.
Yeah.
All right. Before Disney bought it, there was that story that Luke and Leia met Vader.
Oh, yeah, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. But can we count that, though?
We can't
because
count it now
they
because
threw it
Disney
out.
said it doesn't count. Because it's a book and anything that's
but
not...
But even so, common sense, they're in a war. This isn't...
Right.
Anytime you have sequels...
He would have been like, Han, here's the thing. Vader is a badass because he took the last remaining Jedi Master and killed him in front of me. So his power even...
But Han Solo was right there.
Right.
He saw exactly what Luke saw. He doesn't even believe in the Force or any of that shit. To him, that was just two guys with laser swords.
That's irrelevant. Okay. They are in a war. They're in a war again, but that's like saying that General Patton was this cool dude, but he, we don't really know about Hitler. He was just
we don't know. Okay, Patton didn't know what Hitler likes to do for fun.
We're not saying that Darth Vader.
We are though, because Darth Vader was shown as
a dick for a second.
No. Hold on. Let's finish this.
Two guys said no.
They like being on Han Solo's dick.
He's gonna die in a week. We gotta enjoy this.
Right, it's Han Solo. If there's one man's dick that I would look at and say that's a nice dick, it'd be Han Solo. Let's get that.
We didn't say look at it. We said get off.
Well, like I said, don't threaten me.
Stare at it all you want, Jan. That's perfectly
don't threaten me with a good time. But this isn't like a CW TV show where the only things that happen are what you see. That's one of the great things about Empire is they allude to all these things happening. So if they're alluding and saying that, we ran into a bounty hunter, and in the beginning storyline, they had to leave a bunch of rebel bases after destroying the Death Star. You're assuming that all this other stuff happened because again, they're in a war. They're not gonna just we just happen to be fighting these dudes in white armor. There's a plan involved.
No, I understand that. You're oversimplifying what I'm saying. I'm saying specifically Darth Vader.
Right.
He's known throughout the galaxy and feared throughout the galaxy.
He's feared throughout the galaxy. They don't know what he can do.
Exactly.
Because everybody... That's what I'm saying. So for Han Solo to shoot on him isn't any different than for Han Solo to shoot on Greedo or anyone else that could in his way.
Half of his commanders and... personnel don't know what he can do. There's a scene where he even says, we don't want to rely on your hokey religion.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is...
That was Han.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. If you're thinking of...
Says, we don't,
that's the guy that Vader chokes.
General Mahdi.
The guy that Vader chokes.
Yeah, General Mahdi.
Sorcerer's Ways and Hokey Religion. Yeah, that's the guy that Vader chokes.
Ways. It hasn't given you
Clairvoyance enough to find the stolen data tapes or whatever. No, all I'm saying is when Dustin brought up that Han Solo whips out his blaster to shoot on Vader instantly, that's a natural reaction for any character.
No.
So I don't know. That's not really an argument to make a New Hope.
How do you know Vader was a bad guy if you're saying he didn't know who Vader was?
What do you mean? I didn't know. I didn't say what.
Why would he immediately draw his weapon?
He's
they
interacting
never
with
said
Boba
he
Fett.
didn't know who he was. They said they don't know what he was capable.
Arguing for Empire, bro.
Why would I be arguing for Empire?
Because we all voted, and that's the debate.
Yeah, that was the game.
Phil wasn't paying attention.
I don't.
Phil can be on my team. That's cool.
All right, you've been drafted, Phil. Now you're arguing. You got him. It's all. He's on.
No, all I'm saying
not
is
necessarily arguing for Empire. I enjoyed both movies equally, but
I'll show my hand when we're done. It's not about really, what I like the most. It's about, trying to present an argument.
Yeah, we're just nitpicking. But I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that Han knew about powers or whatever. I'm just saying that even in the terms of this war that they're having, that they're fighting, Darth Vader is the embodiment of that. So even if it doesn't matter if they know that he has powers or not, he's still this really badass dude. Even if the argument is we don't know what he does, the fact is he's the face of the enemy. And the fact that Han Solo walks into a room, again, notwithstanding what his powers are, no one's saying powers, what he sees is the face of the enemy.
I know, but I'm just saying,
without hesitation, he fires.
But he does that with everyone, is what I'm getting at.
Even Chewbacca's like, he yells. Han doesn't yell. He fucking shoots at him. Even Leia, who's seen him before.
Because Han Solo can emote in other ways than Chewbacca.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll give you that one.
Well, that's Han's natural instinct, like Jeff said, in any situation. Just because, he's got enemies. He's constantly got people. He doesn't know where they're coming from. He doesn't know, somebody going to stab him.
Killing a bounty hunter is insignificant. Obviously, that's not.
No, it's just another day at the office for Han Solo.
Right,
and
shooting
to bring
face
it back,
of the enemy is a huge deal.
It's not. It's not that he's shooting at the face of the enemy. It's that he's shooting at an enemy. Something he always does. Because you brought up a couple weeks ago in our best movie duo debate, you were like, Han Solo's not really a good guy. I mean, that was your argument for Riggs and Murtaugh, how they're these noble dudes. Yeah, Han Solo's not really a good guy. That's why I even brought up the point in the first Star Wars. He actually goes from a bad guy who, is only about himself.
Well, he goes from a selfish guy to a good guy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in the realm of that movie, in Empire, he's a good guy, and he gets frozen as a good guy. His character doesn't really change much. It's just kind of like, I've done this, I've had the big change already.
Because the time frame between the first and second movie.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, there's not this huge character evolution. Luke Skywalker evolves as a character. Princess Leia is essentially the same. The droids are obviously the same. Vader has more to do, and now he's in control. But I mean,
I think R2 cussed more in the second one. But,
Okay. Can I make a point yet?
No.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Point away.
So, reasons why Empire is just so much better. You see a lot more character development than you think you see in Empire if you pay a little bit closer attention.
Oh, I paid attention. Please tell me. Enlighten me.
For instance, you see the first signs of Vader showing that he's not all bad in Empire. When he's begging Luke to join him and they can take down the Emperor and rule the galaxy together.
I don't think he's really shown any signs of compassion.
No, what he's showing that he's showing that he's a person. He wants his son. He wants his son by his side. You started to see Vader as more round.
I think he's just trying to be like, hey, I'm tired of ruling under the Emperor. I just want to usurp his power.
Well, Vader always had his sentiment about him. I mean, obviously I don't want to go back to the prequels, but his whole basis behind everything in the prequels was protecting Padme. So
yeah, he was paranoid.
But in terms of just the two movies is what I'm trying to get at. So,
I get it.
So going off of what Brian's saying, even the Emperor has to remind Darth Vader, hey man, search your feelings, blah 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 blah. Keep your head in the fucking game. So you see, and
he didn't say about search his feelings.
I would love to hear Emperor say, keep your head in the fucking game.
Vader said, search your feelings to Luke about being his father. If anything, that was just, he knows that Luke's powerful. It's not about, I'm a good guy and I want to, bring my son over. It's, my son's powerful. We want to use him to rule the galaxy even further. If anything, make even more evil because
Hold on a second.
He wants to actually use his own kid as a fucking pawn. Not even like, oh, I'm your father, I want to like make up for all the lost time and teach you how to fly a skyhopper. No, it's like, fuck you, you're just going to be a pawn, and I'm going to use you even more. So it makes him more evil.
Well, he does say when he's kneeling down to the Emperor, and he's saying this boy is the son of Anakin Skywalker.
And he's a powerful ally if he could join us or whatever. And he's like, he'll join us or die.
Well, yeah, but then
that's what he says. He doesn't. It's not about being a good guy. I don't think his character evolves into like a redemption story until Return of the Jedi, and we're not talking about that.
Can I bring this up? How is it fucking possible that while in that little detention chamber on the Death Star, that he's torturing Princess Leia, that he doesn't feel any sort of a connection in the Force with her, being that she's supposed to be a Jedi herself?
Because George Lucas is an asshole, and that
wasn't the plan at all. Yeah.
And Darth Vader was his fucking name when you watch the first movie. That's his real name. He's not Luke Skywalker's secretive father. That twist was made up later. That's a problem, but it's not a problem.
I have a question. Is that a matter of opinion, or is
what?
My question is, is that verified that Vader wasn't going to be Luke's father the whole time?
It was verified. It was verified that Princess Leia was not going to be.
No, that's
Luke's
fine. The
sister.
Leia thing, I totally get. That was just their way of going, oh, we did a twist in the last one. We need one for this one. I need to know your guys' opinion. Do you think that George Lucas knew when he created the original Star Wars that Vader was Luke's dad the whole time?
No, because the
production of 5.
The original Star Wars was the actual original manuscript was way fucking different than the movie itself.
Yep, and they put it out in comic form too.
They did.
So, and what, last year from Dark Horse before they went over to Marvel?
Yes, the Star Wars.
And Dustin, I firmly believe that what you're told in that movie, because I don't think when that movie was created, the first Star Wars, it was meant to be like, we're gonna sow this seed early on, and then later on it's gonna bloom and pay off. It was kind of a black and white, good and evil story, and what you're told is what you're told.
Yeah, because in the original manuscript, Luke is Anakin's little brother.
I bought the first issue of that, and I just gave up on it because I was like, I don't know what I'm reading.
Yeah, I can see why they would change that.
Dude, Obi-Wan is Anakin and Luke's father. Leia is the daughter of a king who's refusing to join this new galactic Senate Empire thing.
That sounds interesting, actually.
And Han Solo is still Han Solo.
He's a green alien.
He's a green alien, but he's still a douchebag.
True.
And he's still all about himself.
In the recent comics I'd read, I didn't read the comics, just headlines or whatever, that it was revealed that he has a wife.
Oh.
Now I want to know, do you guys, if that becomes canon, which I think it is.
All Marvel comics are canon.
Okay,
but did they actually reveal that it's his wife, or did they play up? They were like teasing that it was, and then they kind of like left it.
You mean wife as in not Leia?
Yeah.
Yeah, like prior to meeting Leia, even while I guess when he did meet Leia, he was still married. I guess like I said, I don't look too in depth into it. It was just something I came across. So maybe Brian could, enlighten us some more on that. And then I guess what are your guys' feelings on knowing that now? If you watch 4, 5, and 6, is it weird that he's married still and hooking up with Leia?
It definitely, not changed my feelings on the character, but again, that makes me worried for 7 that they're going to go back and it all comes back to them retroactively. This is why X-Men First Class and a lot of the X-Men First Class is a piece of shit movie, is that when they go back and retroactively change things. So now, if that's the case in 7 and I watch Empire, it's going to be like, well, I don't need to know his life before he meets Leia. That's midi-chlorians to me. I don't need to know that shit. I don't need to know everything about I don't need to know everything about Han Solo. It doesn't it's like that's information that I don't want.
That's why he benefited the most out of the people from the original trilogy when the prequels came out. He wasn't mentioned once.
Right.
Nothing about his backstory. He wasn't a little boy. He just wasn't tarnished. It was like, hey, they meet him at the bar, and then everything you know about him is in the film. They didn't fuck it up.
Right.
Well, the only backstory we have on Han in the actual canon is from the comic books.
Well, are those books about how he met Chewie canon?
Yeah, that stuff is
that's
canon.
all canon, I thought. So him being in Korea, training with the Imperials,
to be in the Empire,
and then leaving,
still canon. He was an officer in training.
Right. He trained on Korea, and then he met Chewie and saved and took him with him and got the life debt. That's all still canon.
That's legit, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's getting murky because we've all been Star Wars fans for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, this was all legit and official. Now it's not. What the fuck? I mean, I don't even. It gets to a point where I almost just can't care anymore. It's like, they told me it was real once. I'm just gonna go with the old stuff.
Right. I'm almost at the point where I'm just gonna be like, hey, the books I read still fucking count. Fuck the rest of this bullshit.
I got a shelf of them behind me. I will read, The Courtship of Princess Leia. That's legit. They got married.
Right.
In my eyes, Princess Leia and Han Solo got married.
In the movies, from what I'm understanding, they did get married. And they did have the children. And in the beginning of the movie, Han thinks that Leia and the children are both dead, and him and Chewie take off.
That doesn't make any sense.
Within 1 week, we will know.
That right now I'm chalking all that up to fan theory. I'm like I said, and I'm gonna wait. But again, based on the trailer that I saw.
Which one? Did you see the newest one from China?
I did, and it's like
that was actually pretty cool.
It was actually a lot. Well, they're both cool trailers, as far as the standpoint of being a trailer. But all this retroactive bullshit. Why the fuck would he think that they're dead? And then even so, why would the Han Solo that we know just fucking leave? And then how is he? I don't want to even get into all that.
It's a scoundrel, always a scoundrel, man.
Yeah, but if his fucking wife and kid are dead, if his wife and kid are dead, how is it that he just runs into them? In this movie?
If he thought they were dead, there's absolutely no reason to stick around and even finish this fucking battle. If by that point they're the only things he's still fighting for.
Yeah, but
here's
somehow,
the thing.
some way, he's gonna find out that the leader of the Rebel Alliance is still alive.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
because no one else knew that shit for 20.
We're forgetting one point that I make every episode. The fucking story ended. The battle was won. The battle ended in Return of the Jedi. There's no further, the further adventures of what happened with the Empire. No, in the movies, you are actually shown the Empire fall. And I don't just mean the Death Star explodes and we're all supposed to assume they're all dead. We see Coruscant, which used to be called Imperial City. We saw the riots in the streets. We saw them taking down stormtroopers. We saw statues be taken down. And all across the galaxy, there was celebration.
You have to realize that the entire fleet was...
Dude, there was a minuscule portion of the fleet
there. I know. Now you're going to have freaking Moffs and admirals all biting for control, seizing what ships they can. So now you don't have the Alliance fighting one solitary enemy. They're fighting a bunch of... it's like fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda here and Hamas here and the Women's Baked League over there.
The Women's Baked League?
Yeah, fuck those bitches. They didn't make cookies today.
The Youth Coast Guard Auxiliary?
And that was what was so great about the books. But again, in terms of what they're showing in the trailer, so I can I guess stomach that as far as other shit has been happening. But don't tell me that the war was still going on for 20 years when again
30
the 30 years when again their fucking capital city fell. So even if that's the case, do not give me a movie where some fucking teenage kid in a mask has, and again I'm waiting to see the movie, but if that's the case, I'm not gonna fucking buy that because it's been 30 fucking years. They fucking lost a lot of shit.
The Nazis in World War II,
that would be like losing Berlin, but they were still able to fight as the Axis powers for 30 years. That I don't buy that, and that's my thing with the new movie.
There could have been a formal, retreat or whatever, and they could have surrendered.
That's what I was going to say. There was a retreat, consolidation of their forces, kept a system of outlying planets under their control because now they're consolidated and are easily more able to defend that area.
Right, but that movie would be a year after that, 2 years after that, 3 years after that, not 30
30.
And if that is the case, that means that everything that we were led to believe about the rebellion was bullshit. They weren't well organized. If it takes you 30 years to took out their fucking leader, their second in command, their greatest weapon, the best legion of their troops. 30 years, Joel? That doesn't make any sense.
I know. I said, what if, after a point in time, they came to an armistice agreement?
But the Jedi are back. You have Luke Skywalker is bringing the return of and I think that's why when Jeff says that, that's one thing that is what pisses me off, is because that's the truest statement. The story fucking ended. The Jedi came back. The natural assumption at the end of the movie is not only is the Empire dead, but Luke is going to continue on the legacy of the Jedi
and be the greatest Jedi.
And he's been trained by the 900-year-old wizard who has 900 years of fucking experience. So if it took Luke Skywalker 30 fucking years to destroy the fucking Empire, you're telling me that the Luke Skywalker that I grew up with is a fucking idiot. That and a loser, and that all the Bothans that gave their lives.
I'm just gonna say this: Luke is no Han Solo.
Even that Han Solo is a fucking man in the movie. You cannot tell me that 30 years Han Solo, who shoots dudes in the face at the first sign of trouble, can't figure out a way to be like, well, let's go find these dudes and shoot them in the fucking face and not take 30 years. That's what pisses me off about this movie. I'm not going to believe that it took 30 fucking years to destroy the Empire. Now, it could turn out that this dude Kylo Ren is some badass with a shitty fucking name and looks like a fucking 15-year-old guy who's got a lot of fucking angst, but he's a badass and he resurrected all these dudes, and I would buy that. But I swear to fucking God, if it's this fucking 30-year bullshit with the Empire, someone's gonna get fucking punched in the throat.
Just not Hillary.
Well, just not Hillary. Maybe Hillary. If she gives me that 30-year thing, bullshit.
Phil.
Kind of on the same note, though. It took the Rebel Alliance how many years to uprise and defeat the Empire?
We don't really know. If we go by what's that game? Force Unleashed 2, it's like Leia, 6 years.
It probably took about 13 years because Leia looked like she was like 13 or 16.
She's 19 in the first movie.
Within the span of 6 years.
And within the span of 4 years, they destroyed 2 Death Stars and millions of troops. Because you got to understand how many people were on the first Death Star. Like they say in Clerks, that thing was fully staffed. That was not just like, oh, we're building it, we'll get people on there, eventually. That thing was fucking loaded to the brim with stormtroopers. We saw hundreds on film, via special edition and stuff, but it was implied that was fully stocked with thousands of troops from every level.
Stormtroopers, you got the officers, you got the support staff, you got the guys vacuuming the rugs in the oval,
The poor mouse droids.
Yeah.
Well, what about all the people that weren't on Death Star, on other planets?
But you gotta understand, they took out a huge chunk. That's like, Joe, what's the biggest military base in America?
I know the largest naval base in the world is Norfolk.
Okay, Norfolk. Let's say every officer that could be there at that point in time, like that would normally be there, got wiped out. That would take a huge chunk out of the Navy.
Even if you want to use real
world applications, wipe out one of our 7 fleets.
That would have been like when the Japanese took out fucking Pearl Harbor. I mean, historically, the U.S. was in danger of losing still because they didn't have enough fucking ships.
I was there.
We know. We saw you in
Did
Michael
you take
Bay's
the photos?
Pearl Harbor. You did a good job.
Yeah, Ben Affleck did not play you.
Yeah, it was Josh. What's his name? Hartnett. Felt bad for you.
Josh played me.
Yeah. Right. But again, if you want to make comparisons, that happened, and it took years for the U.S. to fucking get back into the fight. So again, if you destroy a giant,
within the next less than 4 months later, we bombed Tokyo.
But again,
no, not in the next 4 years or 4 months.
Yeah, remember we had that Doolittle raid.
Right, but I'm saying as far as the strength of the Force at that time, that's
okay. Wouldn't it be more like when we dropped the nuke on Nagasaki? Didn't we kind of just fuck up the Japanese and they were done at that point?
Actually, they were already done.
Yeah, they were kind of.
Listen, we're getting off topic.
I'm just getting to a point like when they dropped the nuclear bomb, it's like blowing up the Death Star. It fucking devastated all of it.
But the Japanese repopulated.
Yeah, over a course of many years. It'd be like if we hit them twice consistently.
No. I actually think a better analogy, if you're going to use our history, is Korea. North Korea still fucking exists.
Your point?
Right. We were at war with them. They signed an armistice. There's North, there's South. They still both exist. They hate each other's guts, but they're not invading each other.
And as much as I hate to agree with Joel, I kind of do in the sense that, okay, yeah, there's this, this uprising of stormtroopers now.
An analogy of that would be if we destroyed fucking Pyongyang and took out their main force. And if we were continuously fighting, it wouldn't take 30 years to take North Korea. If you destroyed...
That's what I'm saying is they probably came to an armistice. It came to we're not at peace, but we're not fighting. You have your territory here, and we have the main portion of the galaxy, the inner rim.
And even then, if based on the trailer, is that Luke has been gone all this time.
Yeah, he's been gone.
Playing with his lightsaber.
So even if we're gonna go with that, they signed some armistice, and Luke has been gone. He didn't sense this evil. This dude can use the Force. That means that he went against everything that Yoda taught him.
Nope. Because remember, Yoda was able to hide from everything else.
I have a question. Are we all agreeing that the Empire fell at the end of Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
I would say the vast majority of it fell. That was able to be beaten.
How many other fleets did the Empire possibly have, if you think about it? I mean, ship-wise, like, destroyers, Star Destroyers, Super Star Destroyers, there was only a small faction of those at the Battle of Endor.
I think there was a lot of infighting afterwards.
It wasn't, but even so, if based on the screenshots of Return of the Jedi, based on what the Empire says, he had a massive force there. He tells Luke, it's my best ships, my best troops. When they come out of hyperspace and they go on the other side, I think it's when they reach the other side of Endor, you see all these ships, right? So even if that's not the majority, that's a huge amount of ships to lose in one battle.
Those 5 Star Destroyers and 1 Super Star Destroyer.
Right. So
we don't know how many Super Star Destroyers there are, though. That could have been like a one thing.
There's no way that's
Let's
a
put
small
it this
force.
way. The United States Navy has over 246 ships right now.
Okay.
All right. That's like having a carrier, like 3 cruisers and 2 destroyers, and that's what got lost at the battle, and a base.
And
there you have.
But we don't.
But again, even based on the movie, guys, again, using common sense, he thought he was going to crush the rebellion.
Yeah.
He thought
But even if he's wrong, he's going to divert a huge amount of resources to that. He's not. Again, he's a Sith and he's arrogant and all that, but he's not going to say, "Oh, well, we'll have 7 ships." They're thinking that they're gonna face the strongest rebellion fleet.
Thing. He had enough ships there to keep them engaged long enough to demonstrate a fully armed and operational battle station.
Right, but again, even so, he's assuming that a major rebel strike force is coming.
Okay,
let's hit a great amount of ships. Those ships are not there. They were destroyed, or it was a large enough force that the rebellion went among them to have ships accidentally destroyed by the Death Star. So I'm just saying, based on that, you can't assume that it was just some small pocket of ships for the Empire. It was some chump change for them. So that would explain why they're still around.
I would say it was a fleet.
I'd say it was more than that, because it
would have been 1 fleet.
It would be a 1 fleet, like 1 of our 7.
So you're gonna just go 1 fleet against 1 fleet and hope that you destroy the entire rebellion.
1 Star Destroyer could take out. Go ahead, Joel.
Well, a Star Destroyer could take out a planet.
No, even say it in the first movie, it take 1,000 ships more powerful than I've ever heard of to destroy a planet. So no.
And Star Destroyers are simply created for orbital bombardment. They're not made to destroy the entire planet. Planets are fucking huge.
One
and that's
Star
why.
Destroyer.
Go ahead.
1 Star Destroyer could easily take on 5 Corvettes and a fucking frigate and come out on top. 1 Star Destroyer. Okay.
That's fine, but
again,
we're giving too much credit to like the fact that there's only a few there.
Yeah.
We don't know. We got to understand something. The Battle of Endor, they've already been hurt. Okay? if you have more ships than you have people, like what the fuck? If a huge chunk of all your people are centrally located in one spot, which is the Death Star, and then all of a sudden they're all blown up in just one incident. It's like they're scrambling for people over the next couple years.
I don't agree that the Empire fell at the end of Return. I agree that it had to lick its goddamn wounds and it had to rebuild, but it did not fall. There was probably a ton of infighting.
There were enough Star Destroyers at Yavin that they could not defend, that we know of, Coruscant, Naboo. What other planet did they show, Jeff?
Oh, Tatooine.
So you lose 4 planets.
And people can say, "Oh, that's an Outer Rim planet," but there was.
But you lost your capital planet.
But Joel, even though you can shit on Tatooine's importance in the prequel trilogy, like they had a presence on the planet.
That would be like.
It wasn't even affiliated with the Empire.
But
it was.
No, the Outer Rim is ruled by the Hutts, man. Plain and simple.
But
always has
Jabba
been.
the Hutt's dead too, so.
But
Jabba the Hutt
won't always will be.
That's one Hutt.
That shit doesn't matter.
That's the Hutt.
Fucking Coruscant fell. That would
there's
be like
always
us.
a successor,
Coruscant
Jeff.
didn't fall. If you actually
No, they don't have a. What?
What they were explaining, what I read with interviews with the new people running Star Wars, is that like.
I don't like the sound of that. Ooh, new people running Star Wars. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, their justification of it was like, yeah, they show like all these like statues falling, and they said within minutes, like you have all the riot police coming through and like arresting people that are celebrating the destruction of the Death Star. So they have a presence in universe and all these planets still, and
I feel like that's just an argument for them to like go see our movie still. Don't worry about arguing about it. We'll take care of it. We're just gonna usher you in, push you in softly. It's okay, guys. Just give us the money and see the movie.
Do I agree that the story ended? Yes, but is there enough reasonable doubt to rip a story out of there somewhere and make more movies? Of course there is. Anywhere there
absolutely.
is.
But if there is,
it doesn't have to be a continuation of the Empire. It could be a million other things. If they really had the foresight to make more Star Wars movies back in the day, it should have just been like the further adventures of Luke Skywalker, and then something else could have happened.
Okay,
Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah.
Yo.
How reliable do you think Wikipedia is?
Very.
All right, they're talking about the size of the Empire's fleet. At its height.
But remember, it's not in canon. Some of this stuff won't be in canon, but I mean, I guess.
But the size of the Emperor.
Well, you guys just said that it's still canon to you, so he's just showing you.
My argument's been based on just what we see in the movies.
Okay, due to their impressive armaments and imposing nature, nearly 25,000 Star Destroyers would be in operation at the height of the Empire.
Okay. Which Return is still until the end of Return, the Empire is still in its height.
No, it's not.
So they lose
you
5 out of
killed the head off the snake.
To be fair, it's not just 5 Star Destroyers in the scene, because I mean, if you play the game Rogue Squadron, there's a fucking giant, just a huge wall of Star Destroyers.
Even in that scene,
5's an underestimate.
Yeah, when they come out of hyperspace again, it's way more than 5 Star Destroyers.
Okay,
it's like 1, maybe 2 fleets.
4,000 Star Destroyers.
The best thing that happened for the Alliance in that battle was the Emperor died. When the Emperor died, everything, their troops on the ground, and leadership, and all the TIE fighters, all of that went to shit. Because all that training was being supplemented while the Emperor was alive by the dark side of the Force. If you notice, they all turned to shit. They were like idiots fighting back.
Right.
And the Rebel Alliance started taking, like, holy shit, we're going to beat these fuckers.
It's like a domino effect.
Right. It was, and for the sake of the battle, you killed the majority of the best admirals. Vader's gone. The Emperor's gone.
Who commands... Who's good? So if all their best are dead, how do they last 30 fucking years?
Well, here.
They don't. It'd be like if all of a sudden the president, the vice president, the Speaker of the House, the president pro tempore, all those people all of a sudden just were wiped out. Because the executor, which is the only one we're shown in the movie, we're not supposed to assume that there's 1,000 of those fucking
Darth
things
Vader
out
are
there.
The end all be all.
No. Well, yeah, but then you got other Moffs and shit on the executor, and they're all dead
the
too.
The Moffs weren't there because Moffs have entire regions of space that
they're
in charge of.
They're spread throughout the galaxy, controlling their own areas.
But Joel just said the Emperor's dead, so all that organization is gone.
But wait a minute, you said no.
So with that organization gone,
And to jump on you, Dion, even in the first movie, they say the regional governors have control. So you can't tell me that other guys aren't going to be like, hey, I'm going to take this star system. No, I'm going to take it, and that could lead to an inside Civil War.
Exactly. That's not going to last 30 years, though.
There's going to be a lot of for years. There'll be infighting. If anything, the Rebel Alliance is going to sit back, lick what it's got wounds too. It's going to consolidate its power while the Emperor, these Moffs, are now all bucking to be the new Emperor.
So
and you got to think too. Other places that sympathized with the rebellion, now that they had that big, well, I'm saying they're going to fight back too. They're like, well, if the rebellion can defeat the Empire, well, we're not going to take it either.
So again, you're saying that the Moffs are going to invade.
Consolidated the Empire remains. The First Order consolidated its power.
Right. So after the Battle of
Endor itself, because even if they're not as bad.
Right, but I'm
using that as sarcasm, the quotation marks.
Right.
We can see it, Joe. The listeners can't.
So again, taking
God damn it, Dion, let the man talk.
So, by rebranding themselves enough that maybe the Alliance said, okay, you keep your section of space, don't fuck up, because we'll keep an eye on you. But like all things, look what happened. Let's use America. 9/11. Everyone's like, get these fuckers. And now it's like, why are we doing this? But let's leave it alone. People have short memories, and they're gonna start worrying more about their lives than what the Empire did. So the Empire will start growing again. You had Germany in World War I, then World War II.
Yeah, and they got defeated.
Yeah,
they never came back as a superpower.
The First Order is the Third Reich. Then,
but that was within what, 10 years? So then.
10 years
fight again.
2030.
No, I'm saying for the so the end. So World War I ends. They're in a depression.
1919, right? And then to 45.
So then Hitler took power in 1933 or whatever.
Yeah, because he was already. I mean.
So between World War I and the end of World War II is 20-some years.
Right, because the Third Reich started,
and they were completely destroyed. They were completely defeated within that 20 years. That's my point.
Yeah, but see, it took the Third Reich growing and started taking people and invading countries for other countries to stand up against them.
And we've already had that happen in the realm of
Star Wars. This has already happened in Star Wars. So this battle
like
is World
in
War
the 40s
II.
already.
So yeah, the battle is the end of World War II, is what I'm saying.
So are there any other topics we have to cover tonight? Because this is getting just exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much done at this point.
Yeah, I'm mentally checked
I do
out.
want to say one thing. Luke, okay, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm in the first movie. Here, son, this is the most powerful weapon in the known universe. Look down its barrel. All that idiot had to do is press one button, he'd be vaporized.
Well, no, he would have just stabbed himself in the head and died.
Yeah, well,
the rest of his body would have been
a vaporized hole in his head. I would have been like, you know what? I don't think you're a good choice, kid.
Well, that would have been the end of the movie.
Sister's got more common sense than you.
We wouldn't have had much go down. Because let's say if that would have happened,
they probably would have went down.
To Alderaan. What?
They probably would have went down on somebody still.
She would have died. No, but think about it. Obi-Wan would have went to Mos Eisley, found Han and Chewie. They don't see Alderaan, and maybe, they die on the Death Star because Obi-Wan's off doing this tractor beam shit, and Han and Chewie aren't going to go save the princess.
All right, here's one question for you. Okay, we saw in the prequels, Dooku was the, right-hand man of the Emperor, right?
Yeah.
All right. This is how many years after Anakin becomes Vader? That in Star Wars, he's still subservient to a Moff.
Yeah, because remember the Death Star is Grand Moff Tarkin's
right,
baby.
But in overall, Vader should outrank a Moff. I am the Emperor's main man.
Well, let's think about it in the realm of that
though,
film.
Too.
It doesn't. He's still Vader. Dooku had more power than Vader then.
Well, no, in the grand scheme of that movie, the Emperor's just a sentence. The Emperor's not really a character that we've met in that film, and then, Darth Darth Vader is second in command on the Death Star.
What it is that it wasn't written to be that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, in the realm of that film, and that film only, Darth Vader is not in charge of everything because he takes commands from Grand Moff Tarkin.
And what's funny is because it's still canon. The Clone Wars cartoon, the CGI.
Yeah.
Yep.
Luke's a general. Tarkin was a captain. Or not Luke, but Anakin was already a general, and Tarkin was a captain. And all of a sudden, this guy becomes a Grand Moff, and that former general is taking orders from this piece of shit human.
Well, and honestly, to cut in real quick, I don't think that anybody besides the Emperor knows that Vader is Anakin. Besides, like, the Emperor and maybe Obi-Wan and a handful of people.
I'd agree with that.
I can agree with that.
Because, like I said, not everyone knows what he can do.
According to the...
And they make fun of him for what he...
According to the galaxy, Anakin Skywalker is dead. Yeah. According to official records, Anakin Skywalker is dead.
He even says it to the Emperor, this boy is the son of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. He's even treating it as if Anakin's dead.
Yeah, he's talking about himself in the third person.
Yeah.
Yeah, because...
he's Vader now.
Well, yeah, he's talking about himself as a different person.
I do like that, the son of Skywalker, because it's trying to push to a point even with Vader. Yeah, the son of Skywalker. You're no longer Skywalker. Let's get those feelings straight, because if the whole idea of the dark side is emotion, which is funny because he's like control your emotions in the dark side.
Yeah, and Yoda says it too about learning control.
But I throw everything fucking Yoda says out the goddamn window.
I would too. But look, this was our debate, and I don't think we even debated. We debated for about the first part of it.
Yeah, and then we went off on the goddamn
Han Solo. You went off on Han fucking Solo for 20 goddamn hours.
It's Han fucking Solo, though. No.
I love how Joel just pops up on camera pointing at the screen. I love it. Well, I really didn't have a ton. Look, I'll just say what I had to say about the main feature part. I basically was going to say Star Wars. We've said everything that can be said about the Holy Trilogy, and the first film is probably one of the most important films ever made. It literally changed the world and how films are marketed, and the rest of the trilogy is goddamn good as well. Has everyone said what they wanted to say, though, about A New Hope? Does everyone like it?
All three of the original fucking trilogy are fucking amazing. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. They are the pinnacle of the Star Wars universe.
Well, the first half of Jedi, once the teddy bears come in, it's garbage.
Fuck you, the Ewoks are legit.
Fuck you.
Hey, Dustin, I got a question for you.
Sure.
If we cut out the Ewok scenes,
that would be my favorite of the trilogy, probably.
I just feel like I'm with you that the Ewoks are a weak point in the film. I just feel like the space battle's pretty damn good, and I think the stuff on the Death Star between Luke and Vader is really strong.
Fantastic. That lightsaber fight, honest, we talked about this last time. It's my favorite lightsaber fight. He's just like, at that point, he's not using the saber as a sword. He's using it as just like a rod, trying to beat him. The way he's swinging and everything.
Oh, especially at the end when he cuts his
hand off.
That's
what I'm saying. He's just like trying to clobber him instead of cut him. It's fucked up. And then I love one of my favorite things in the whole saga is just the whole Jabba the Hutt's palace scene. I loved that as a kid.
Now, did you like it? The special edition changes to it, or you don't?
I'm fine with it. I think the music's better. I know it seems more ridiculous, but at least it has some sort of pomp and circumstance to it. You know.
Do you mean the actual Jabba music? In the palace, or do you mean the music at the end of the film?
No, when the bitch with the long lips is singing.
Jedi Rocks, nice news.
Hey, it's lively at least, you know.
The old one I can get. I mean, I don't mind the songs either way. I don't like them, but I just don't like that scene. It's like the rest of the movie looks great with practical effects, and then hey, here's some CGI in your fucking face, and it's just like.
And the Rancor, awesome monster to have.
Yep, and I love how Jabba just fucking doesn't care about his own people and puts those Gamorrean guards and they get eaten and shit. It's a cool scene.
Yeah, it's a fantastic scene. A great way to open a film. You see Luke come in, he's wearing all black, and he just right away force chokes the Gamorrean guards, and so you know he's advanced as a Jedi, and he flirts with the dark side. Like he...
Yep. I have a question for you. Since we we all pretty much like A New Hope and love Return to the or Empire Strikes Back. So you think on Endor is the point where the film shits the bed mildly?
Yeah, if honestly, if there's a way to cut that whole sequence out of the film and replace it with something else that shows how the Empire falls, fantastic. But it is so goddamn unbelievable.
I get that everybody shits on the Ewoks, but because they're stupid little characters, but they were kind of. They kind of came to the rescue of the Rebel Alliance. I mean, there may not have been enough of the Rebel Alliance on Endor.
Any character race you put in there would have been available to save Rebel Alliance.
Right.
That's true.
So even the fucking... What?
It would actually have been good if it was Wookiees.
It was supposed to be.
That
was the original idea.
Oh, the film.
Because Wookiees...
It's just unbelievable to think that like Stone Age technology, rocks and sticks, could take down an empire that has been impressing an entire galaxy using the latest technology. Like that's
the
that's
Emperor has
retarded.
already died. No.
No, he hadn't. Like when I'm with you, Dustin, when those fucking two logs crushed the ATST.
They would have ponged off. They would have hurt those guys' ears.
What the fuck is that?
Or they throw little rocks and just it knocks out the stormtroopers who are trained to.
I bet you the stormtrooper that hit his head on the door in the Death Star had more pain from that than getting hit by a rock.
Absolutely, it's fucking stupid.
The only thing that can really go through their armor and hurt them is a fucking laser blast.
Yep.
I mean, it does shit the bed. It has a good space battle. Do you have any similar faults with the other two films though?
Just like I said, I guess the droids going through the desert on Tatooine. And honestly, there is not one point in Empire that I would change. I think that's a fantastic film from beginning to end.
See, now Dion and I, one of these New Years, we did a Star Wars marathon the following day, and we were really invested in the first film, and then we were into the first half of Empire, and we got to the middle, and we just lost interest. And then we watched Return of the Jedi, just to watch it because we had to finish it. That's kind of how I feel about the franchise as a whole. I mean, I like Empire. I mean, we're out of the debate part. I give it like a 9 out of 10. I think it's a great movie. I still prefer the first one. I would give that a 10 out of 10. To me, it bottled the essence of Star Wars, and it has everything that I don't think there's a better first introduction to like a world or a universe than Star Wars. I mean, and barring Back to the Future, I don't think there's a better first act of any trilogy.
Is anybody else going to say something, or?
I guess I'm an asshole.
No, I'm not saying you're an asshole. I'm just waiting for them to say something, and they're all just like
I said, man. I think we've all been done for a little bit.
No, trust me, I'm not.
I'll correct you. He is an asshole, just not about that topic.
I second that motion. All in favor? Say aye.
I just wanted to clarify, Jeff. I wasn't saying my mind as a thing against you, as towards the other guys, saying you guys need to talk more.
Oh, I understand.
Well, anyway, yeah, I'll go off of that.
Crap.
But yeah, no,
that was definitely a fucking trap.
Going off of what you guys are saying, I definitely think, Empire's the perfect movie. I think, obviously, of course, Star Wars, A New Hope's going to get a lot of fanfare because it was the first one. It's very hard to beat the first, the initial movie in any series. That being said, I think Empire is one of the only movies that does that. I mean, you know that Return is my favorite movie, but again, obviously the Ewoks does.
Why is no? All joking aside, why is Return of the Jedi your favorite?
Well, besides it being the first one I saw, it is outside of you take out the Ewoks, for me it's the best one because you guys already said it. The emotion with Luke fighting Darth Vader. The space battle in Return for me is my favorite. It's the Millennium Falcon flying into the new Death Star. You see the Emperor in person for the first time. Up until that point anyway. He's walking off. He's walking off the shuttle, and even so, the music when you have the Emperor theme, when it's just like all hope is lost, and he's just sitting there, and he's just watching, and he's so powerful, he's essentially making this father and son fight. And not only are they fighting for themselves, they're fighting for the fate of the whole galaxy. And that's why, and again, outside the fucking teddy bears saving the goddamn day, even then you have, Han Solo essentially, being Han Solo down on the planet, shooting fucking stormtroopers and literally being the reason why the rebel fleet doesn't get fucking blown to all the atoms. I mean, that's
he was ready to shoot a fucking Ewok too. Remember?
He almost
pulled out his
did.
gun.
Yeah,
Luke had to talk him out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's the leader of that mission, not Luke Skywalker. Fucking Han Solo is.
He should have shot them all.
But that's why it's my favorite.
That's cool. I mean, like I said, I wasn't trying to take a dump on your
I
opinion.
know you're not.
It's just
us
it's really
thinking.
rare to hear someone say Return of the Jedi
By
is their
far.
favorite Star Wars film.
I think Empire's, and I go back and forth a lot, but Empire's the better movie by far. But it's my personal favorite. Oh, it's Return. It's definitely.
See, I think Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader's so weak. I mean, we mentioned earlier how he's, second in command to Grand Moff Tarkin on the Death Star, but even before the Emperor shows up in Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader just feels like a kinder, gentler Darth
Exactly.
Vader.
Well, that's what Return of the Jedi is supposed to be. It's him succumbing.
to the father's side.
It was Vader's babyface turn.
But like before even like anything happens in the film, he's just like, "Oh, Emperor's not as forgiving as I am."
Right,
back the Empire Strikes Back Vader, he would have been like choking people. Like what happened in that year that made him so? Like, did he really pine over Luke?
Like I told you, man. Straight up, you see the transformation of Darth Vader remembering he's Anakin and how he's actually longing for his son to be by his side in Empire.
Wait, no, that's not true because he doesn't even know he has a fucking kid at that point. He had to find out through the Battle of Yavin that he had a son because, his arms and legs were chopped off when his wife gave birth. He didn't know that his kids
didn't know about
He thought Padme was dead with the kids.
In her rage, I'm afraid you killed her. No!
I think it was a lot longer than that.
Well, yeah.
No!
But even so, I mean, if you're gonna take the prequels into
part 2.
I was not taking any part of the prequels into fact here, just from the way the scenes play out in Empire. But
well, yeah. Imagine that you have a son and you've been this evil asshole this whole time, and then all of a sudden, hey, you got a kid. Like that's gonna fucking do something to you. I have a son. I have a son.
Oh God, is that a family?
And then he
Guy
finds out
reference?
he has a daughter. Time to get the shotgun out of the closet.
Your sister.
Han Solo, I should have frozen.
And that's
your ass
another
forever.
reason. That's another reason why I love Return is that he's like, oh yeah,
Because you
let
like
me use the
incest.
Force.
It makes sense.
Yeah, he's just
Banging a
he's just
scruffy
like he's like,
looking
oh yeah,
orphan.
you have a sister. Well, I'm gonna fucking turn that bitch evil too, and I'm gonna tell you about it. Like he uses that to piss him off, and it's
Evil
like,
tits.
Okay, so here's an interesting topic. This could really spark another quick
Oh,
debate.
Christ.
Which, Phil, you can leave at any time. I don't think you'll have a lot to say about this one. But Dion, which film has the best music?
of the original trilogy.
Yeah, we're not worried about the prequels.
I'd have to go with A New Hope, man, because that's the fucking beginning. And again, the music is a huge part of it. But then for me, in Empire and Return, it kind of fades into the background a little bit. I don't pick the music back up in Return until Luke is fighting Darth Vader, and even in The Empire Strikes Back, outside of Hoth and the asteroid battle, the music. Other than that, the music kind of fades into the background. And in A New Hope, it's at the forefront. It's this huge part of. It's a part of the story. I mean, even when he talks about Mos Eisley, da 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 da. It's a huge part of the movie.
Dustin?
Can you ask that again? I'm sorry.
I just said, which film do you think has the best music?
4 by far.
Okay, Phil? Oh, sorry,
No,
go
I
ahead,
was just
Dustin.
going to say, I didn't know if Dion mentioned this, but yeah, the Cantina scene's iconic. And they use a lot of the same music throughout the other films, so I think it all started at 4, and that's the best.
Anybody else have anything to add to that? Because I definitely want to expound upon what you guys said.
Overall, it's 4, but there's one piece of work.
The Imperial March.
The Imperial March just stands out as
It does.
it just feels like something's gonna happen every time they start just nudging it into the background music.
Well, I was with you. I'm glad Dion and Dustin, you both said episode 4, because I thought somebody was going to just say Empire's better because of the Imperial March, but it really, the first one...
That's the one
outweighs
piece
it.
that I
So
love
many-
the best from that, but...
Oh yeah, I think the Imperial March is a great song, but The first one, like you guys said already, there's just so much music that it just hits you in the face. Like the music at the Battle of Yavin, how it builds up to that end. I mean, I'm not going to try to sing it because it's an orchestra song, but you know when the Death Star's about to explode, it's got
You can do it, Waterboy.
Shut your mouth, SA. and then you got that awesome music when they're trying to... I did call him a turn paper. I missed college all of a sudden.
No, the music at the award ceremony, too.
Oh, at the very end? That's awesome music. You could argue that's the best part of the best music of the film. I don't know.
A New Hope is probably the only film that has an actual through and through score.
Well, they all have a score.
But like an actual through and through score that the movie would not be the same without would be Star Wars. So I will agree they have the best movie there in A New Hope. Not the best movie, but the best music in A New Hope.
Soundtrack.
I think AFI or somebody listed as the greatest film score of all time. How do you feel about that in that context?
I'd agree with it.
Yeah.
Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, it's iconic. Everyone knows Star Wars music when it hits.
Cool. That's what I thought, too. I just,
But people also think that the 20th Century Fox opening is part of the Star Wars score.
No.
Hey, it's on the soundtrack, to be fair.
It is. That's what's so funny about it.
That's how it starts.
Dun, dun.
I wanted to close this talking about the new movie one last time. That's one part of the new movie I'm really upset it won't have for sure.
20th Century Fox opening?
Fanfare. Every time I hear the 20th Century Fox fanfare, I'm waiting to read A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, and then Star Wars.
And this time it's going to be the Disney Castle.
It's going to be weird.
It is going to be
I didn't even
weird.
think about that. That's fucked up.
Well, the thing is, I wanted to bring this point up on this podcast, and we'll probably talk about this for a moment. You guys got to understand, this is the last time all of us will be together, and we live in a world with 6 solid Star Wars films. I mean, Dustin, our friendship, you too, Dion, I mean, obviously, but our friendship, the three of us, has been built on wrestling and Star
Absolutely.
Wars. And I feel like we've really exhausted a lot of topics in our personal lives. And now we're going to be at a point where there's a whole new film, and we'll have years of speculation. I think it's exciting in that point. Not that I'm excited just to watch the movie, to a certain degree. I'm excited that what it's going to bring for the foreseeable.
Yeah, more debate fodder. It's gonna be awesome.
I love how he's talking about this like we're all gonna die tomorrow.
No, but
Star Wars, man. I mean,
the last
the
time
magic.
we're all in the same group together talking about 6 solid films.
Well, that's the.
No,
that's
what
the
I mean is
majesty
this
of
is
Star
the.
Wars, man.
I mean, these podcasts are like a time capsule. We talk about weekly news. We go on riverboat gambling trips. We shit with the door open. That's what we do. We're men. But my point is, though, we can look back at this point, and this will be the final time where World Class Bullshitters exists when there's only 2 Star Wars trilogies. When we come back next week, it's going to be a whole different world to a degree.
That part I'm excited about again. I just think it all hinges. I'm just so worried about this movie.
We'll be back on Thursday.
No, we won't, because we'll be watching the movie.
We won't. Yeah, I'll be at.
You're watching a midnight release?
No, 10 o'clock Thursday. So exactly 1 week from now, I'll be in the middle of that movie.
That reminds me.
I'm not going to be able
I need
to
to
see
get my tickets still.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Well,
not opening
the theater up in Northgate has a shit ton of tickets left.
Yeah, they said that they've overestimated a lot of the pre-sale numbers and a lot of tickets. I mean, the movie opens on like 3,900 screens, and they said there's millions of tickets still available. Well,
the reason is everyone thinks it's sold out by people throwing rumors on the internet, so they don't try to go find these tickets.
Yeah, it's true.
It's because the theater groups aren't saying, "Hey, we've got tickets." It's not popping up on like IDM or IDE, whatever it is, or all these sites should be popping up. Hey, tickets are available. The first week, Star Wars, come see it. But they're not
first
advertising.
week, yes, not opening day.
Right.
Now, speaking of opening day, is this going to be the biggest opening weekend
Probably.
in history?
Yes. Yep.
It could be. We'll see, man. I mean, I think it's just so much. I do think that the effect of Phantom Menace is gonna, depending on. I mean, word of mouth is gonna be huge. The Phantom Menace effect is gonna have a big say in this. I mean, if it comes out that people give in to the whole "it sucked" movement first, then it won't. But if it comes out that people love this fucking movie, then we very well could see another moment in time in which Star Wars fucking changes the game.
It's going to be the fastest film to ever make $1 billion. Hands
I would
down.
be surprised if it didn't have a mega weekend.
Well, you guys, there's one thing we're not taking into account. There's one thing bigger than Star Wars and everything in America. That's Christmas. I don't give a shit who you are. Christmas is a big fucking deal. And we're getting... It's a week... That movie comes out, what, 7 days before Christmas? I mean, you gotta... There's shopping. There may be other obligations. People will be coming home from college. I don't think a lot of people are going to be rushing out as much as we think. I think we will, and the initial weekend will be big. I don't think it'll be Jurassic World's opening of, what's that, $212 million or some shit like that.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for the invite, but I do need to take off tonight.
Okay, see you, Brian.
See ya.
Enjoy the rest of your debate, gentlemen.
Post, have a good night.
I was just thinking it's gonna... I think we're overestimating it. Why do you think Dustin will be the biggest thing
It just
ever?
will. I mean, Star Wars is a bigger franchise, I guess, than anything I can think of.
It is the biggest film franchise.
What's that?
It is the biggest film
Yeah,
franchise.
and so I'm saying, like, I haven't talked to one person who's not going to see it. Like, even people that pretend like they haven't seen it before, they're going to go see it. Like, everyone's talking about it. They did a pre-sale on tickets for a film. I've never personally seen that. I know I'm from a small town, but I've never, up until Star Wars, had it where they pre-sold theater tickets months in advance. I think
Harry
did that for
Potter,
the Avengers.
the Avengers, they pre-sale tickets all the time to stuff.
yeah, but I'm saying where I live, that's never happened, and this is the first time that it has happened.
I
That's
can tell you one person who's not going to see this movie. Stevie
Who?
Wonder.
Oh, God.
Christopher Reeves won't stand for this.
God. Joel, that was the worst joke I've ever heard, and I love it.
No, wait,
Hey,
I've got
Dion.
the worst joke you've ever heard. What kind of overalls does Mario wear?
I already know this one, but say
Denim, denim, denim.
it. God. If this was a live stream, everyone would stop listening at this point in time. They'd be like, these guys started with so much piss and vinegar, and now they're making Mario jokes. Fuck this show.
But I think that
Dion,
we're being
why-
inundated with a lot of commercials. Every major brand of anything is tied into Star Wars right now. I think
It is.
it's above.
So
Well, no, but I think it's above oversaturation. I think it's immune to that, and I think that everything being Star Wars right now, it's gonna be Jurassic World. It's gonna be every film that's ever been released up to this point.
You know, and I agree with Jeff on the point that it may not have that huge opening weekend just because of, everybody trying to get the last minute Christmas shopping in. I mean, maybe a lot of parents will be dropping their kids off to see it while they go finish Christmas shopping and stuff. But I think probably its biggest weekend will be Christmas weekend, just because there's a lot of people that go to the movies on Christmas.
Yeah, but there's a lot of shit coming out this year, quality stuff, too.
you mean like Alvin and the Chipmunks?
That comes out the same day as Star Wars, man. No, but we're not sitting... This isn't a Christmas where it's like Star Wars and then nothing else comes out. I mean, there's a Quentin Tarantino movie coming out. I'm not saying that's going to be the biggest thing of the year,
Christmas?
but I mean, Quentin Tarantino films are...
They're entertaining.
Yes, dog.
That comes out on
I
Christmas?
said... That comes... Hateful Eight comes out
Oh, I
on
didn't-
Christmas. So does that... let's see what else...
Alvin
Okay,
and the Chipmunks and that famous.
but here... the day Star Wars comes out, we got Star Wars Sisters with Tina Fey,
No one
Alvin
cares.
and the Chipmunks.
No one cares.
I think some people are going to care. I mean, we're all Star Wars fans, so we're looking at it from a certain point of view. I mean, Star Wars will be the biggest thing that weekend for sure. There's not another movie that's going to
But
outgross
women
it.
will be drawn to
say-
the Tina Fey movie.
Yeah, and I think this new Star Wars movie, they're trying to make women drawn into it, but Star Wars has always been a kind of a boys' fantasy film franchise. I don't see the point in changing
Yeah,
it now.
they're trying to drag women into it because I read an interview today that they did with Carrie Fisher about all the women that have major roles in the movie and girl power this and whatnot. But it really is. It's a fanboy kind of movie.
I think that's what's going to hurt this movie, too, in the long run, is they're trying to appease a certain group of people that don't like Star Wars, and the people that do like Star Wars are going to go, what the fuck is this? This isn't what I've
That's
always
Disney
loved.
for you, man.
I'm just saying, I think, they haven't really fucked up with the Marvel movies. They've kind of kept...
Yeah.
I guess we haven't really seen other versions of these Marvel characters, with the exception of, soon-to-be Spider-Man.
No, we've
But,
seen a different version of Cap with the clear shield.
Hey, we even saw that Matt Salinger one from the 90s. That was
Yeah,
garbage.
with the red.
Oof. Dion, you still awake?
I just had to go poop real quick.
Are you,
Like you're still pooping.
Oh, no,
Put
but
it in
this
the comments, you know.
well, but listen to me, guys. Christmas alone on December 25th, I think Star Wars will still be number one, but it's not going to take over every movie. Because listen to what we got coming out on Christmas. We got The Hateful Eight. That's a Tarantino film. Those are always big hits. We got Joy with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro. So people will go see that movie.
I don't think so. That movie looks horrible.
Hey, I'm not going to see it, but I'm just saying I think they will. There's the Point Break remake, so that'll be the biggest flop of the weekend. Then we got the new Will Ferrell movie. That'll make some money.
Oh, that comes out on Christmas.
Yep.
We still got Will Smith's new film Concussion.
That'll
draw in sports people.
Fan, yeah.
We still have the new Leonardo DiCaprio film The Revenant. That'll draw people in too. And then there's a movie called 45 Years, which no one cares about.
That's all on Christmas? Damn.
That's all on Christmas Day. I think Star Wars is going to definitely dominate the 18th. It's going to be... I say there's a 50% drop in box office the following weekend. And
by the new year, it's not going to be number one.
No, I say... Because people are estimating that it's going to be number one till Superman
If it's
Batman.
good, I think it will be. If it's as good as, I guess, the overall feeling is, I think it will be number one until New Year's. I think so. If it's already going to have a huge opening. What's going to change that is the word of mouth about the movie. And if the word of mouth is good, I'm going to piggyback on Dustin and say it's going to make $1 billion real fast, and it's going to keep climbing because it's Star Wars. And if it's very good, people are going to keep going back and watching that because all the nerds are going to keep going back and watching it if it's a very good movie.
I don't think it'll beat Avatar.
If I like it, I'd plan on going to see it again Friday and Saturday.
Oh, I'm not going to go see it back to back like that. Because that, if I have to go see a movie like in that quick a succession, I lose interest in it quick.
Yeah, we know.
Like that's why I don't like Age of Ultron anymore. Because we kind of went and saw it that quick, and I'm like, it wasn't that good the second time.
What movie you saw with Dion? Came down and watched it with me.
Thor?
Because it hurts.
Oh God. Well, no, I mean that was an obligation you and I had made with you. Like, hey man, we'll see Thor. Or no, it was Iron Man 2. I said to you, I'll see Iron Man 2 when I get home from college, and I'd already seen it, so I couldn't go back above.
To be fair, Jeff, we saw Mad Max right before we saw the Avengers for the second time, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold it out and say Mad Max will still be the best film of the year. I don't think Star Wars will top it.
That's sad. I have high hopes for the movie, but I mean, you watch these interviews with people like Harrison Ford. They keep asking him, "You saw the film, right? Yeah. What did you think of it? It's amazing. Come on, that's a paid response." I think you're really you seem really disappointed in the film.
But how is that different than any other actor has when they have to promote the movie?
Well, at least Shia LaBeouf was honest.
Well, yeah,
but you could just
that didn't
see
exactly help his career.
You can just see it in Harrison Ford's face. He was. I don't think he wanted to come back for this movie. I think he was done with it all, and he's like, well, the money was good, so might as well.
I don't know. I think you're reaching a little bit on that one.
I think Harrison Ford seems completely disinterested in this movie. I think his crotchety demeanor, people are just like laughing at it, like, haha,
Harrison Ford.
Harrison
That's him. That's Harrison Ford.
You hear what Lucas said? He got to see it.
Fuck George Lucas.
Hold on. And this is where you can say this. He said it's going to be... hold on. What was it exactly? It was like...
the fans are going to like it.
The fans are going to get the movie they want. And it was,
so that's not a good sign.
In other words, it's not his interpretation.
Well, I mean, when you want... when you think the fans want Jar Jar Binks... Oh, Dan, are you still here? I wanted to tell you something that's completely
sleeping. Oh, he's awake.
Okay, so Dan, you know that generic pilot that we were talking about last week on the Episode 1 podcast?
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
You know.
Would you believe it if I told you that that's Del Preston from Wayne's World 2?
Damn it, Del.
When I watched that yesterday and I found out that was him, I went, holy shit. I had to tell you that on air.
Damn it, Dale.
Well, guys, I think we've exhausted Star Wars. Let's check out our social media real quick, and then we will wrap this episode.
Fuck that fat motherfucker.
What about Batman? Oh yeah, Joe, you weren't here the last couple weeks. What did you think of the Batman vs Superman trailer?
It told too much.
That's what we said, man.
Yeah.
That's what.
The fact that Zod is being implied that is Doomsday can kiss my ass. They could have done so much a better job with how that creature looks instead of a retarded, toxic Avenger-looking creature.
I don't know if you listened to it at all last week, but we said he looked like the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk.
No, Abomination had more ridges. This guy was all bubble boned or looking.
I said one of those troll monsters from Thor. So
that or one of the rock trolls from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I wanted to ask before Brian left. Fuck. Is the Star Wars trilogy better than the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
Yes.
Or yes. Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
I thought you said Lord of the Rings better than Star Wars.
Oh.
No, Star Wars is way better than Lord of the Rings. However, I am a huge fan of Lord of the Rings.
I'm glad to hear that, though, that you like both, and you still admit Star Wars.
Go watch
better.
Clerks too if you have any question about which one's better.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
Dan, it's got donkey sex.
Dan's seen that.
Yeah,
movie.
Dan's seen that movie.
Dan is Kinky Kelly. He's alive. Well, guys, I checked our favorite hashtag WCBS, which, by the way, our listeners can contact us using. From Yan Canner, our favorite guy that we don't know. I made my first camera appearance for hashtag CBS this morning, hashtag WCBS. This one's from Jair at Mega Rocky. We clutched up so many times. Fun night. Hashtag WCBS. P.S. P.S. I fucking love this mate. This one comes from Publishing DP. Miami police arrest made in 2014. Slaying of Brooklyn rabbi. Hashtag WCBS.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Official driver dead in head-on crash in a public bus in Queens. Hashtag WCBS. And finally, if you scroll down enough, forget watching the PlayStation experience. Listen to world-class bullshitters. Hashtag WCBS.
Yeah.
Hashtag as useful as a lead balloon.
I'll take it.
So, gentlemen, this concludes our Star Wars Episode 4 episode. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Fuck
man.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Dustin?
No, I'm excited for the 18th. I think it's going to be a really good thing, and if nothing more, it's getting people talking about Star Wars again, which is never a bad thing. So,
I think we're all excited. We're just worried about what's going to happen.
see, if you just go in worry-free, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. If you just
that's what I mean. I haven't been worried up until all these fucking interviews are coming out, and that's where I start to get. You know,
What other interviews are you talking
seem
about?
very happy about it. And there was a interview Harrison Ford did on, I believe it was on the Today Show, and he was also on Kimmel, I think last night or the night before, and he didn't seem to fucking care.
But that's his demeanor about Star Wars. It's always been. I mean, he's my favorite actor, but I would never try to approach him on the street.
Yeah.
I would just be like, fuck you, Harrison Ford. Try
I'd
to
rather
punch him in
talk
his
to
chest
George
or something.
Perez.
no, just go into it
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
without any expectations or any reservations, and just watch it. And I guarantee it's going to be great.
I'm worried, though, about the effect on the fan base. There's nothing I can't stand more than when you get like an influx of fair-weather fans that come to these things, then the creators change to appease those fair-weather fans, then they all run away and we're stuck with shit. You know? I mean, we don't know how this is going to affect Star Wars. I'll give George Lucas credit. Yeah, the prequels were shitty, but at least he kept a certain feel. And when you got later into the Clone Wars stuff, that universe that he built in those not-so-good movies was cool and felt like Star Wars. This, I mean, we're getting...
Well, not only that, George Lucas, I just saw an interview with him where he basically said when he made the prequels, he kind of had a fuck the fans mentality. He's like, this is my story and I'm going to do what I want. And you have to respect him for that. Him not catering to these fair weather groups or catering to the SJW crowd. Like, he's just like, this is what I want, I'm going to do it.
And that's what I'm worried about this new movie. I think, I've said it before, I hinted at another podcast, I think the female lead and the black guy are an attempt to seem diverse in Star Wars, which has always been really a white cast. And I mean, Star Wars is a pretty white thing in general. I mean, Dion and I are exceptions, and Nick too. I'm just saying, Star Wars is a pretty white thing. It's not.
I think there's a difference between where my concern is story-wise. I could give a shit if it's a black dude or a white woman.
But I think that's things going to affect the story
not,
because people aren't going to see that on the surface. They're going to be like, oh, this was a great story. No, I'm one of those guys that, I can read between the lines on certain things and see, like, this was kind of pushed in here.
You are allowed to say that. I can't say that.
Well, do you agree with me, though, Joel?
I agree.
Okay, so
I don't think I don't think that has anything to do with the. If the movie's bad, it's just going to be because it's bad.
It's not about the movie being bad. I think it's what they're trying to push under the guise
I don't think that has
Star
anything
Wars.
to do.
At least with it has everything to do with it. At least with George Lucas, it's my art. It's bad art, but fuck it, it's a piece of art. It's not with him to a degree. I mean, those other ones were products, but there was some nobility.
So would you say that Lando was just put in the movie, or was he put in because they wanted to be progressive?
A little.
And did it ruin the movie at all?
Well, Lando's an interesting character.
Right. So that's my point. If the chick and the dude are just interesting characters,
the chick will not be an interesting character.
Yeah, we already know
she will be shoehorned. She will be shoehorned in to bring in a female audience. Lando wasn't shoehorned in to get black people to go see Star Wars. Because let's be honest, if that movie made $400 million in 1977 and everyone was white, who gave a shit? Everyone your movie made so much money.
Right, but the same thing happens now. If the movie makes $1 billion in the shortest time possible, no one's gonna really care about just because there was a female lead and a black guy in the lead. I don't think that's gonna matter. I mean, if it's good, that's not gonna come up.
I think it is, though, because then it's going to lead to, Star Wars did this. Star Wars was so progressive. Now everything has to do it.
But that's not something that's particularly alone in Star Wars. That's what they did with Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek had the first fucking interracial kiss in television.
Star Trek was built around that. Star Wars was not. Star Trek was always about this idyllic future of where we could be, where we should be.
But it was still primarily white.
It's always going to explain the problems in our culture now. But
it was still primarily white.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, primarily.
I mean,
outside of Uhura and Sulu, but the rest of and if there were any black people, they were all aliens.
Is Irish?
There were security guards that wore red shirts and died.
Yeah, but like Joel said, Star Trek is meant to be a reflection of the human condition now and in the future. Star Wars is not.
Star Wars is a space fantasy.
It's not meant to reflect our views in Hollywood or our views in whatever. It's really
supposed to show our world.
Star Wars. It's a fucking story of good versus evil, fathers and sons, right versus
wrong. So if
wrong.
you look at the new movie coming out in that scope, it's not going to matter.
You won't have it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's look at the throwing in of something to be diverse. Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that flopped. And that was a fucking shitty choice. And it wasn't even because
it was a choice that made no sense.
Yeah, but also it's on record that he was cast because he's friends with the director.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I don't want to hear he was cast because he was such a great actor. Like this new guy.
I am all for diversity, but when it's put in to say we're diverse, then it's being forced, and I tend to want to fight being forced into a situation where it doesn't need to be. It wasn't,
Joel, perfect example. The Falcon in Captain America 2. Perfect.
I was just saying another good example.
But that was
pre-existing material. While jogging, all of a sudden becomes your sidekick.
But that's pre-existing material. The Falcon was already black, and even so,
which was what makes it work is that it wasn't changed for the sake of it. I mean, that's how it was intended.
Was this Finn guy
kind of like it was like the random meeting at the very beginning of the movie. It wasn't like you were
right. So has J.J. Abrams or anyone said that Finn
Yes. J.J. Abrams had actually said that he went to some Emmys or something. He said there was a room full of white people, and it was so boring, and he's casting this movie based on it's a fight against that. And then Kathleen Kennedy has gone on to say that Star Wars needs to be for women. I mean,
I can see that.
These aren't like things I'm coming up with. This is my response and my feeling towards
right. Yeah, if that's an
that's
official
what they're doing.
Point that they have, then yeah, I can see that being.
And Star Wars is not a fucking stepping stone or a platform for your political views, goddammit. I mean, George Lucas was kind of like good evil. That's it. Yeah, some of his ideas were shit, and I'll be the first to admit it. But it wasn't like, we weren't talking about like Episode 2 wasn't an allusion to 9/11.
Right. Can we all agree on something really quick? That Star Wars or not Star Wars, Star Trek is fucking gay. Is that something we can all agree on?
No.
The TV shows or the movies or what?
Just that whole universe, that whole.
No, it's not gay. I'm not gonna do that shit.
No.
What?
I just love how you thought you were gonna get one in on it.
He has such a small town mindset. Seriously, man.
You're all
alone on that one, dude.
You don't like Star Trek. That's what kind of surprises me.
Would you say?
You're all alone on that one.
No, Deanne said something about socialism.
Yeah, I'm like that's kind of what Star Trek is. It's they're
in a sense in the beginning, yes, but then later on in the few other shows, it strayed away from that because they brought back in money.
Well, I was gonna say I grew up. I'm not a socialist anymore. I'm an adult now.
You're a man. You got a beard.
Yeah.
You got a beard? No, I can't see it.
Well, there you go.
No, Dustin, I'll say this. I've never been the biggest Trekkie, but I respect the 2 newest films. I'm excited for this third one, Star Trek Forever or whatever it's called. And the original series I can watch with a certain level of cheese and enjoy.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Trekkie.
Remember the 2 original series movies I made you watch?
Yeah, Wrath of Khan was great, and so was
Voyage Home.
I like those movies.
Because I said
Search for Spock. You don't like Search for Spock?
No.
It's okay. It's okay, but the Khan was such an iconic villain for me.
I didn't like the new generation or the Next Generation.
I
didn't care for
Next
that
Generation. I will go right to DS9 because you know what? I'll say this, no problem. My favorite captain, overall, all the qualities, is Benjamin Sisko.
Sisko's cool. That's black dude. Yes,
is it the black dude? Okay.
Yeah, because he had
the
the spunk of Kirk when needed, or the diplomacy of Picard. He was able to do both and not be tied down to being a French pussy or an American cowboy.
Fair enough. I mean, you're way more well.
And then you brought the Dyke Janeway in, and
Oh God.
Oh. I hope someone comments on that on the Facebook page.
And then you got the Vanilla Archer.
Is that Scott Bakula's character?
I mean, I enjoy him, but he was very vanilla.
I think somebody's going to comment on the fact that he tried to get everybody to say that Star Trek is gay. He's gonna piss off not only the gay demographic but the Star Trek demographic.
Oh.
Do you think we have a gay demographic for this show? I don't even think we have a demographic yet.
We're a work in progress as far as
Hey! Don't stop my hopes and dreams.
I will tomorrow.
Bill wants his gay demographic.
No, but Dustin, why do you not like Star Trek? And I'm not shooting you down, so please
feel free to shoot me down. I remember watching it a lot at my uncle's house growing up because he would always smoke pot, play video games, and watch Star Trek, and it just was so cheesy and stupid, and the sci-fi elements. Well, one, the special effects looked like shit, and two, they would
about the 60s, right?
Yeah, it was the 60s, dude.
Gold jacket, green jacket.
According to you, Phil, Star Wars came out.
Just because things have a reason doesn't mean I have to like it. Regardless.
Honestly, if there wasn't a Star Trek, there wouldn't be a Star Wars.
Oh, that's like saying if it weren't for fucking cavemen banging rocks together, we wouldn't have gotten the Beatles. Like, that doesn't matter.
That is the quote of the night.
I did like that quote.
My point is, all the technical jargon, I just don't care for it. It's too hard theoretical science, whereas in Star Wars, hey, we're doing hyperspace. We don't need to use all these terms. We're not going to explain it scientifically. We're not going to show you graphs. We're just going to push a lever forward and go.
Yeah, because midi-chlorians never happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't technical. Hey, you have the Force. You have a fucking bug in you that talks to you.
Oh, isn't that funny that you hate midi-chlorians and yet you're using that argument to defend the shitty-ass gay queerness of Star Trek?
Dude,
that's a lot less worse than the shitty ass. Hey, I can't explain something. Let me ruin the fucking mythos by a fucking bacteria in a
little. If you're defending Star Trek,
I want to know why he thinks it's gay.
Oh, because that's what I use for things that I hate.
It's
well, Dustin, I like that reasoning too. I'm not going
to change my speech patterns just because a bunch of fucking people on Tumblr or Twitter or whatever the kids use these days say that I can't. Fuck that.
It's Tumblr, and they're terrible. All I was gonna say though is, Dustin, Captain Kirk is banging chicks left and right. I mean, honestly, it's like every couple episodes he's fucking some other woman.
That's a storyline in Enterprise.
James Bond of
fucking the Vulcan. I mean, fucking is a lot. There's a lot of heterosexual stuff going on there.
Dustin, when you're talking about the scientific jargon, mumbo jumbo, Star Trek is science fiction. Star Wars is science fiction. Space fantasy. It's space fantasy. It's two different types of genre. You're getting,
and that's what I'm saying. I prefer the space fantasy over going to fucking.
Look how many things they fictionally made up on Star Trek that are actually in use today. The cell phone, the glasses that you can actually move and look on the internet with, touchscreens. This was all done 40-something years ago, but now it's becoming commonplace technology.
Yeah, didn't Arthur C. Clarke predict like satellites and stuff back with his book Childhood? Wasn't he also a pedophile? Like, just because these people do things that happen in the future.
That just jumped the shark right there. A pedophile.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought fucking little boys was called pedophilia. What's the term for it?
Yeah,
I'm so glad.
I caught Jared.
Keep on trekking. That's kind of creepy.
Jesus.
My point is, let's get off of Star Trek, but it is, by God, the worst thing I've ever watched.
Have you seen the new movies?
So you're saying, wait a minute. He says the worst thing he's ever watched.
Yep, and I watched my first Donkey show when I was 13. So, let that give you a frame.
You filmed your first Donkey show?
Oh!
I still don't see a problem with that. I'm not insulting.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying comparatively speaking.
Okay, guys. This has been an excellent episode, and I will leave you with this one last note about Star Wars. IGN has ranked every lightsaber duel, and number 1 is Luke versus Vader on Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
So, this episode of World Class Bullshitters has come to its end. I've been your host, Jeff Hicks. And with me, I guess, since no one wants to chime in, was Dion Green.
I will definitely chime in, and thank you, Mr. Hicks, for another brilliant episode.
Dustin McNeese.
9/11 was an inside job.
Fair enough, duly noted. Dr. Phil Seitz.
Don't forget to brush your ass.
Dan was here. And still isn't. And our newest guest, Jar Jar Hastings. Joel, would you be joining us in the future?
Yes, I will. And just remember, it's always okay to lose yourself in a drunken fit of rage.